Hello and welcome to the show. So this is the show called Unfit to Fit Parent: How to Become a Fit and Energetic, I can't say energetic parent. So anyway, I am Chris Cave. I am a health coach based in Birmingham in the UK. And I'm so excited to have put together this show for everybody. So we've got influencers or speakers from around the world for you today. We've got Australia, America, and good old Britain. So there you go. How exciting is that? So we've got lots of different speakers talking about lots of different topics, and they're all basically trying to help parents or even non-parents, like busy professionals, to sort of get healthier and get fitter. And like find time to do this, to almost to be selfish, to say like we have to look after our own health, because we can't look after our kids or friends or family or whoever our dependents if we're not in our best shape. Because often, people rely on us, and we have that responsibility. It could be for your kids or whoever, to be there for them. So that's what this show's about. So I'm super, super, super excited. So let's have another couple of minutes, and then we'll start with the first interview. So with some of these, we're doing live, and some are pre-recorded because of the time difference. Because obviously, in Australia now it's night time, and even in Pacific, in America, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. So it's very early there. So thank you to all those that are watching live from around the world. I do appreciate it, and I know that it's the time difference is crazy. So we'll make a start shortly. So thank you for registering, and there will be a recording of this available after the show. So I'm super excited. So our first one is Brad, coming up very shortly, from America. So before we start, make sure you've got plenty of water and a pen and paper for writing down some of the best notes, because there's some real gems, some real nuggets from here. So I've really enjoyed these interviews because they've been fantastic, and I've learned so much myself. I thought I knew a lot, but I've learned so much. And to actually have like athletes on here, ex like British gymnastic champions, actresses, we've got authors, we've got nutritionists, we've just got so many. The way to start. So anyway, I hope you can enjoy the show. And if you've got any questions, please put it in the chat below, and I will try and answer it as best I can. And we will have a break. So the break will be roughly in about an hour and 20 minutes. So depending on how long the speakers go on for. So our first one, I'd like to introduce Brad. So Brad is from America, and many of you probably already know him. For those in the UK, you probably don't know of him, but you will do by the end of this, because he's really funny and he's a really good bloke. So I shall put him on now and enjoy, because this is going to be fantastic. Okay, here we go. Hi everybody. Right. So our next expert speaker is Brad Kearns from the USA. So welcome. We're delighted to have you on here. So he is a New York Times bestseller author, a Guinness World Record setting professional speed golfer, ranked in the USA, and is also a massive high jumper and former US national champion and third world ranked professional triathlete. So that is very, very impressive. So thank you very much for attending, Brad. Really appreciate that. So I just want you to share with our audience a bit about yourself and your bio. That'd be great. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be part of this program, and I'm pretty far into my parenting journey. I have kids that are 23 and 21, but I remember those early years where, life suddenly gets busier and you're not completely in control of your schedule or your energy levels, and trying to stay fit, because I had that previous life before I had kids. I was racing on the professional triathlon circuit. I was living and breathing the athletic lifestyle, and everything in my daily affairs was calibrated to being, focused on peak performance, recovering optimally. So I was sleeping, I was eating, I was resting, I was having downtime. Then I'd go out there and perform these grueling workouts and spend many, many hours training every week. And then everything completely vanished, and I was transitioned into normal life, where I'm driving in the car to a job and sitting at a desk and having to face all those challenges that everyday people do. So I want to have some sensitivity to the logistics of daily life. Because I think a lot of times we can get on social media, we can see the guy who's all oiled up with a six pack telling you that, these are the workouts you should do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then on Tuesday, Thursday, you stack it with a lower body superset. And then you emerge to do some pull-ups while you're waiting for the next weight machine to open up. And it's like, come on, people, when you're totally dedicated to fitness, you can do a lot of great things and perform magnificent feats in the Olympic Games. But for most of us, I think we've been intimidated and misinformed about what it takes to get fit and even super fit. And it doesn't take that much time, and it doesn't take a lot of pain and suffering and sacrifice of the enjoyable things of living an ordinary life. It just takes the proper strategy, and it certainly takes some habit forming and some commitments, and that means extricating from the horrible patterns that we are practicing here in the developed world in modern life, where we're just accelerating aging. We're going into decline at at a pace that's not normal and natural to humans, and we can do a lot better than that, rather than look around and say, well, I'm 50 years old now, so I'll be relegated to the sidelines, and I'll watch Man U on the television for the rest of my life, and comment about how back in the day I used to be quite a quick wing out there on the sidelines. It's like, come on, now you can do better than that. And so that's what I'm trying to represent with my message. My brand is this guy who once upon a time was an athlete way back when, but I want to maintain and that passion and that competitive intensity for the rest of my life, calibrated in a manner that's respecting to my higher age groups and my other daily responsibilities, so I can't be Mr. Superstar elite athlete anymore.
Wow, that's brilliant. Yeah, I mean, it must be a massive change for you as well. When you like from all the things you've done, and at the same time as like family life as well. So that's really good. And obviously now your business as well, and your podcasts and everything else. So yeah, so a lot of our listeners, they're trying to juggle parenting, work life, all these different things. So obviously you've done both worlds. So what would you recommend as to where they should start if they don't know anything about it and they're just like, wow, I'm overwhelmed. I know I need to, get healthy, but how do I just go about doing it? What would you recommend for these people?
Wow, I don't want to overwhelm anybody, but there's a lot of things that we need to look at just to have a fighting chance at being healthy, at getting fit, at delaying the aging process, escaping this, horrible epidemic of disease, things like type 2 diabetes, and the rates that are accelerating to where it's become pretty much normal. I know in United States, there's over 100 million people that are pre-diabetic, in addition to the people that are already classified as type 2 diabetic. And one book from someone I really respect a lot, Dr. Doug McGuff, he offered this statistic that if the rates continue at this crazy pace that they're at now, the type 2 diabetes alone, that specific disease, is going to bankrupt the United States Treasury by the year 2060, I think it is. Just kind of a tidbit where we're on the wrong path, and it's really critical to correct it. So if you want to be motivated by fear, that's fine. So I'll tell you, like, look, we got to do something about this. And in our personal life, it's not that tough. But I would have to start with sleep, because if you're not getting that rest every evening, all the efforts that you make to change your diet, to exercise more, to manage stress are going to be really difficult. And that one's pretty simple. The main objective is to minimize artificial light and digital stimulation after dark, because our bodies are calibrated. We have this really powerful function called the circadian rhythm, where all these hormonal processes and rebuild and restoration processes are calibrated to the rising and setting of the sun. So when the sun goes down in our environment, whatever time of year, I know it's a wonderful longer summers now, especially in the UK, or the further north you get, and so you can enjoy a longer, more active, more physically energetic day. And then in the winter, when it gets dark at 4:30 p.m., the idea is that we want to wind down and have these long periods of time where it's darkish, it's mellow. We're not engaging with the screen with bright light blasting into our eyeballs for hours and hours after it gets dark. We want to kind of divert away from the screen in the final hours before bed to do activities that are mellow and calming. And that might be visiting, that might be walking the dog around the block, getting some fresh air, reading, doing hobbies, and just chilling and taking it easy. And that'll help us transition into a good night's sleep. And of course, we have to allocate the correct number of hours. And what's all the stats on that? Well, you can hear this number of hours, that number of hours. But basically, the goal is to wake up in the morning and feel pretty good and not need to stagger down the hall, limping and shuffling to the coffee pot and needing an artificial stimulant just to get yourself functional in the morning. So if you have a crappy morning where it really takes you a while to get going and you're in a bad mood and you need one or two cups of coffee, all these things are symptoms that you're possibly not doing the right steps the previous night. So we got to look at that evening behavior patterns. And it's as simple as just backing away from the screen, especially the mobile device. For the first time in the history of humanity, now we have something that within arm's reach can disturb our sleep hormones. There's a hormonal process called dim light melatonin onset, DLMO. And this happens in calibration with the setting sun. And when you put a device in your face, you are suppressing the release of melatonin, which is known as the sleepiness hormone. It has a whole bunch of other important effects in the body as well. But we have to let these hormonal processes play out. And that's as simple as just blocking the light in the evening.
Wow, that is great, isn't it? Oh, thanks for that. That's some really, really good tips. Because in this day and age, people just don't realise the effects of social media and looking at your phone late at night and watching telly, watching Netflix, and how it affects your sleep. Sleep is so, so important. I mean, here in the UK, because of our heat wave, everybody's like not being able to sleep properly, and they all feel groggy the next day, and like, oh, I feel so tired. So yeah, it's so important to get a good night's sleep, isn't it? Whether it's 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, it's so, so important. And what I do with a lot of my clients is actually say to them, if you struggle to get up in the morning, put your alarm clock on the other side of the bedroom or even outside the door. So when it goes off, you have to get out of bed, because otherwise people here just press snooze, don't they? And it's like you want to get up in the morning and just jump out of bed with enthusiasm and just get on with it and live that healthy life. So some great tips there, Brad. Thank you very much. Okay, so you're an expert in focus and discipline. So what tips would you recommend to people just starting out?
Well, I think the problem, like I mentioned briefly with the fitness world, is this intimidation factor and this extra complexity, which is mainly kind of a function of marketing hype and making it seem like this big complex ordeal where you have to spend money and buy these contraptions or join this club or even hire a trainer, which is an excellent recommendation, but it's not absolutely essential until you get way down the road where you want to make incremental gains, right? So basically, before we go and get fancy and punish ourselves with these grueling workouts that seem to be the template in the fitness scene, where you go into the gym, it's an hour-long class. There's a nice grid in the front that has the schedule: 9 a.m. spinning class on the bicycle, 10 a.m. boot camp class with the apparatus in the on the gym floor. And I don't know if it's exactly the same in UK, but what I see from my perspective is by and large an approach that is too grueling and strenuous for the average person to sustain over a decade or a lifetime. So let's lower that bar. I like to do high jump, as you mentioned in my bio. So we're going to have a bar that we can just gently hop over and welcome ourselves to the world of living a fit lifestyle. And so if you've had any kind of detours or failures in your past where you were immersed into an aggressive fitness regimen and then it unwound and now you're sitting on the sidelines, let's say that you can get started with just the very basic, most baby effort toward fitness, and that can mushroom and build momentum to where things are happening automatically for you without that risk of fatigue, breakdown, burnout, illness, and injury that happens when you plunge into the traditional fitness template of taking these difficult classes. So one thing I would kind of drop in here is this exciting new concept of micro workouts. People call them different things, but it's basically a miniature workout where wherever you are, if you're at a cubicle in your work desk in a big office, or now a lot of people get to work at home, there's a little more flexibility, you can immediately put your body under some form of challenge, resistance load, and achieve a wonderful fitness stimulation, and also give yourself a break from prolonged periods of stillness, which would have to go way up there on the list, along with sleep, as a lifestyle objective to correct immediately. We simply aren't built to sit around for long periods of time without moving. And the stand-up desk movement is great. But again, if you're standing for long periods of time, all you're going to have at the end of the day is sore legs, whether you're sitting or standing. The idea is to take frequent breaks from prolonged periods of stillness to get up, walk around, stretch your legs. All that stuff's great. But then I'm going to also suggest with these micro workouts that you challenge your body a bit and get yourself huffing and puffing a little bit, or getting your muscles to feel a little bit of that challenge, that strain. And that can happen in as little as 1 minute. So there's no more excuse that we don't have time to get fit, because right now you can drop for a set of 20 deep squats in your cubicle. You don't need any space for this, my favorite example, because squats are pretty challenging. Even if you're a fit guy, when you get to number 17, 18, 19, you're going to feel the burn in your legs if you're going low and standing up and conducting the squat properly. Right here within reach, I'm talking right now and I'm touching my pull-up bar. So I hung a pull-up bar in the doorway, and I have these rules of thumb where every time I pass under it, if I'm heading to the closet to get it more supplies where my post-it notes are located, I'll do one set of pull-ups. It's nothing to write home about. It's not going to mess up my big important workout the next day. It's not going to mess up my recovery from what I did yesterday, but I sprinkle these things into my lifestyle. And over the long term, they have an amazing cumulative effect to not only boost my fitness, but keep me in that category of more active daily human rather than a bump on a log. And I'm also talking right now to the people that have a fitness commitment, because there's this actual scientific phenomenon known as the active couch potato syndrome, where they've tested people who have a devoted fitness regimen. So they go to the gym every morning for an hour. They work out hard. They're running 30 miles a week on the roads for their half marathon training, whatever they're doing. But then the rest of the time, they get on the tube, they ride, they sit at a desk, they come home, they sit at their couch, they watch Netflix, and they have an otherwise sedentary lifestyle. And even their good commitment to fitness by any measure does not protect them from the sedentary related disease patterns that we're seeing in the blood and in the disease risk factors. So, you know, try for these little baby micro workouts, possibly more important than getting your butt to the gym and doing these grueling sessions, whether it's 3 days a week or however many days. But we want to have a more generally active day. And putting your body under challenge is super important too, because that's where the fitness benefits come. So if you're kind of lauding your effort to walk up 3 flights of stairs every single day at the office, and then walk down the stairs and then walk back up the stairs at a comfortable pace, there's a lot of science showing that you may get a better return on your fitness investment for sprinting up those stairs even once a day to maximum effort, and huffing and puffing and taking some time to recover, and then strolling down the hall slowly, and then you're back at your desk. But that's a lot of times what's missing with people's fitness commitment, is that ultra high end stuff, that really explosive stuff where you take your muscles to complete failure, even with, one set of a bench presses or something. So getting that maximum effort out there, that maximum explosive output, which is so short in duration, that's what's great about it. And then adding to that, just more general movement where you are getting up, taking breaks, you're walking down the hall, you're walking back, you're maybe doing something lighter than my description of sprinting up a staircase. But those are two really important ones that can dovetail together really nicely.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I love that, and I love the micro workouts. I mean, I used to I remember my first ever spin class. I did 5 minutes and had to give up because it was just so intense. Whereas now I can teach spin classes and body pump back to back. But there's no way I could have done that like 5 years ago when when I wasn't healthy. And just looking at people in a spin class puts people off. So the idea of your micro workouts is fantastic, and it's getting people to start 1 minute here, 2 minutes, building it up, and that's brilliant. So yeah, thanks for
Yeah. So
that.
what does that mean? How do you succeed with this? You have to create a winning environment. And
Yeah,
that means surrounding yourself with opportunities to do these little workouts. And if it means getting some contraptions, that's great. So I just saw a great video from this YouTube personality, Jeff Cavaliere. He's got 12 million followers, big fitness guy, and he ranked all the best ab workouts. And I think the winner was the roller, which costs, 10 pounds or whatever you're going to call it, a super, super simple thing. It's the best ab workout known to mankind for history. And so if you get one of those and put it in plain sight where you're going to trip over it, during your daily puttering around in the house, it's really important to have it in your visual field, sitting there begging you to come play with it. Same with the kettlebell. If the kettlebell is your doorstop and you walk through that door 12 times a day, resolve and put a little sticky note up on your next to your computer screen that says, minimum one set of kettlebells before I finish work every single day. And I'm really emphasizing the importance of making it easy and a low entry barrier, because if you're listening to some show and the guy says, yeah, just do 6 sets a day of 12 reps, and again, do the pull-ups in between each set to get the super stack going, that's too much. And you're going to laugh it off at some point, whether immediately or 30 days from now. So if you can make a small commitment to lift that thing up and do one set every day, it can be a life-changing experience, because now, you're honoring yourself. You do have a commitment. It's important. Maybe you can't leave the office until you at least do one set of 20 deep squats every single day. And then what happens to people like that who succeed with these little challenges and make these little stair steps is, guess what? The 1 minute effort turns into five, because you're wanting to package it up with something that's a really nice experience. Or if you're someone who can bravely sprint up a staircase, I know you might look funny in the office complex running up the staircase, but if that's you and that's start to become your personality, maybe you'll be a role model for other people, watching the crazy guy who at 10 a.m. on the dot every day actually sprints up a couple stair flights and then walks down and goes back to your desk. So it's that low entry barrier is key to becoming a fit person. And I've seen it so many times. And we talked a little bit offline about people getting discouraged. They did this diet for a while. It was too hard. Oh, I trained with a group and we did the London Marathon 7 years ago. Now I don't even run a step for the last 6 months. And that's the kind of people we want to identify and go, look, it's not about running the London Marathon. It's about running with your dog for 2 blocks every evening, because if you own that animal, that's the least you can do to give it the life it deserves. And then you go along for the ride.
Yeah, definitely. That's I love that. That's brilliant. Okay, so a lot of people heard like the morning miracle, and you have your special morning regime. So like briefly, how could you get people to like use your morning regime, because that you're like famous for?
I'm trying to be, thanks. And I have a great YouTube video, Brad Kern's morning routine. You're going to look at it and you'll laugh, because the first 52 seconds shows the whole half an hour in high speed. So you don't have
Wow.
to dedicate a lot of time, but you can see this crazy stuff that I'm doing on the floor mat. And it's a combination of stretching, strengthening, mobility, flexibility. So what you see is become pretty involved and complex and difficult and challenging, and that's great. And I'm a former elite athlete, so I'm not in the same category as someone who is not dedicated to fitness in that same way. But there's something special about doing something deliberate and proactive in the name of your health, especially first thing in the morning as soon as you wake up. It's a great time to form habits, and it's a great time to build discipline and focus and resilience against all other forms of distraction and stress that you face for the rest of the day. And so, if you can, again, that low entry barrier, that low bar, if you can dedicate the first 5 minutes of your day to a simple sequence of stretches. A lot of yoga enthusiasts do the sun salute, where you rise up your arms in the sky, you sweep them down to the ground, you straighten your back, you stretch the chest. It's not strenuous, but it's something that's deliberate and it's in a patterned manner. So it's the same exact thing every day. And these are really important. The brain researchers and the psychological experts will contend that you don't want to have these things in play, like willpower, creativity, needing to figure out what fun workout you're going to do if you have time. All these little things need to be put aside, and you need to make this commitment to say, this is what I do when I wake up every morning. And it could be something like, I wake up, I leash the dog, and we go for a walk around the block. Then you're getting some fresh air, you're getting open space. It's a wonderful morning routine, but it has to be absolutely bulletproof, complete commitment that you're going to do it every single day, no matter what, before reaching for that mobile device. Because as soon as you reach for the device, you change from this high level strategic planning, thinking, reasoning mode, when we wake up, we're fresh. It's a good time to write a gratitude journal or look at your to-do list also. But when you're in that mode and you switch over to the reactive brain mode, the dopamine triggers of looking at your dinging text messages or your social media feed, it's very difficult to extricate from that and go back and do this wonderful calming mindfulness routine of yoga stretches or walking the dog around the block, or in my case, it's more fitness oriented. So my thing's pretty challenging. And so that thing, I like to stand proudly and say that I'm on a streak now of 4.5 years. I haven't missed a single day of this morning routine that I do. And it's become, over time, very carefully and deliberately, it's increased in its level of commitment and degree of difficulty. So now it takes a minimum of 38 minutes for me to get through all these crazy exercises. And I know many, many people do not have that amount of time to dedicate first thing in the morning, just logistically impossible. And I'm not asking you to wake up in the dark for an extra hour like it's some magical, and anyone who wants to tell me that, because you'll see these posers out there just telling you to wake up 1 hour earlier and kick some ass. Look, I'm a former pro athlete. You can't BS me that this just happens out of blue sky. You need your rest more than anything. I said that at the start of the show. So if
Yeah.
you only have 5 minutes right now, take those 5 minutes, figure out something that works for you. Yeah, you can watch my video and borrow from that, but it could be as simple as the dog or the sun salute. But do it every single day without fail, and do the exact same thing every day, so you don't have to exercise your creative energy or worry about even thinking about it. So my thing's kind of has a meditative aspect to it also, because as I'm going through these sequences that you can watch on the video, where I do 40 hamstring kickouts on each side, then I do 20 frog legs, then I do 15 side to side leg swings. I'm counting my sequences. And when I reach 40, then I switch legs, then I reach 40, then I go down to 20, then I switch directions and I go to another 20. So if anything else is entering my mind, like what I'm going to do that day, or the financial pressures of the modern businessman, or whatever, I'm going to lose count. And the penalty for losing count is I have to start over. And so this thing gets me focused on exactly what I'm doing at that time. That's the meditative aspect to it. I think it has a lot of benefits to kind of clear your mind. And then when I get up from doing the sequence, hopefully, I'm not saying I'm perfect here, but hopefully I will leverage those skills into a more productive focus workday. So my email inbox won't be bothering me when I'm trying to finish a draft of a book or whatever I'm doing. And so when you put these winning behaviors into place and they start to stack up now, then you start to look at this life transformation, where I know we got to check in with your audience and realize that, if you're a parent, let me tell you, people, what you do matters about 1,000 times more than what comes out of your mouth, and the lectures and all the things that your kids shoulda, coulda, and woulda if they just listen to the parent. But if you walk your talk every day and your kid sees you wake up and engage in this deliberate morning routine, they are going to learn from the most powerful example imaginable that you start your day with something that is, self-advocacy. It's something that you're doing to improve your health and fitness, rather than just being a victim of, the noise and the stress and the distraction that we're faced with throughout the entire day as soon as we wake up.
Yeah, wow, that's brilliant. That's I love that routine, and the 38 minutes as well. Yeah, and I love the fact that if you don't achieve it, then you have to start again. Oh, I'm going to try that one from now on. I love that, and it's a
Yeah,
good way to focus. Yeah,
we have to put some stakes in place here. We have to
yeah,
make things important, because otherwise it's so easy to talk ourselves out of it, especially when you're not really accountable to anybody except yourself. I know we have these websites, your accountability partner, where you can check in, or you give 50 pounds to the program, and then if you fail your commitments, it gets donated to the political party that you hate. They have those kind of things going in America, which are super funny. But before we get too far down that road, look, just do something that's so simple that you could laugh and shake your head and say, of course I could spend 5 minutes stretching every morning. What are you talking about? Or, gee, yeah, I can take the dog as my first thing. I do it usually every day unless I'm too busy. but to jump that canyon and get over on that other side where you're a true level 10 badass, that you know you're going to do this every day and there's no negotiation and no doubt, that's super awesome and powerful. And it has been for me because I'm not a guy who's got a regulated lifestyle anyway. So, putting this routine into place has really, I think, changed my behavior in many ways.
That's brilliant. Yeah, I love that. Excellent. So, as a champion, you must have had times when you've had those knockbacks when you haven't quite got to where you want to be. And we find that a lot of people, I think in the UK, it's like 97% of people that go on that health kick or a diet fail. So only the 3%. So obviously, like you're like a elite athlete, so you're in the top like 3%. But for a lot of people, and those 97%, they're going to give up because they're like, well, it hasn't worked. So, why should I bother? So, what tips would you give to people that are like, well, I've tried to diet before, but it never worked, and give up?
Yeah, great question. It's super important to talk about these things and deal with the issue. In our new book that I wrote with Mark Sisson, you can see it in the background if you're watching video. It's called Two Meals a Day, and we dedicated an entire chapter to mindset because we've been in this game so long, dispensing wonderful dietary advice about how healthy the nose to tail eating strategy is, and these are the high antioxidant foods, and this is the best way to fast and do this and do that, and here's how to work out, and here's the best workouts. And we have all the information we need to succeed, but a lot of times we get in our own way. And so we really have to talk about adopting the proper mindset when we're setting out to pursue goals or lifestyle transformation. And I think because we've all come from a struggle and setbacks, we have to give ourselves a break and cultivate some gratitude and some appreciation for wherever our starting point is today. And until you can do that, you're going to have these recurring negative habit patterns keep coming back. We all know the familiar example of the dieter who falls off a little bit and then feels so guilty and frustrated and ashamed of themselves that, of course, they're just going to hit the pints of ice cream at night because why bother? They're a failure anyway, and the whole thing's a disaster. So I think let's quit playing those games. I like to say, get over yourself. I used to call my podcast the Get Over Yourself podcast. Now it's called the Be Rad podcast. But if we can get over ourselves and realize that we're not the center of the universe and our successes and failures aren't, it's not a big deal either way, people, believe me. And I'm talking to the chiseled six-pack guys with all their followers on social media, and the person who has gone soft and feels sad and disconsolate about their lack of ideal body composition. Either way, you're still alive, you're still listening to Chris's great show, and so it can't
Yeah.
be all that bad. And today's a new day, tomorrow's another new day, and just wipe that slate clean, smile, and let's go for it and live the best day we can. And I think once you fully embrace that, then you open yourself up to a wonderful world of possibilities and joy and success. And you mentioned my athletic career because I learned these lessons with more intensity and more dramatic example than you could imagine with any other career path. So when I got my ass kicked and had a bad day, you were watching me fall behind on the telly, or if you're watching the race and I'm pedaling my bike and other guys are pedaling faster than me, it's very much of a giant blow to the ego, so much so that at a certain point you're going to have to shake it off and go, gee, I don't necessarily need to attach my self-esteem to the outcome of my competitive goals in life. So if you're a failed dieter, raise your hand, smile, realize that your methods were probably flawed. Although not always, but almost, almost always, you did something wrong with your approach. So tweak the approach, try it again, and believe in yourself and realize that these baby steps count for a lot. And I talked about putting that kettlebell as your doorstop, or the ab roller over there in the corner. And look at that thing and give yourself a positive pep talk, like, hey, try me out. And if you can only do 5 rolls up and down with the wheel, that is a fantastic accomplishment. And we got to celebrate these small successes rather than engage in there's this kind of self-deprecating baseline that a lot of people go with throughout the day, where you give them a compliment. hey, Chris, it looks like you've gotten in better shape than when I saw you 2 years ago when you could barely finish a spin class. And you say, oh, you know, well, a little, but I'm not about to race in the tour. Chris Froome has still got me by several watts every time, I go on the machine. That's not as effective to your belief system and your mindset as saying, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for noticing. Period. Full stop. I don't care if it, do you want me to ask you if you have higher goals? Do you want to race in the tour in the future? Let me ask you about that, but don't engage in negative thinking and negative mindsets, which is really very common in the diet and fitness scene, as we know.
It is, yeah. I love that. Brilliant. In fact, I think everyone should give themselves a group hug now. So congratulate yourselves on something. Yeah.
All those watching, Chris is hugging himself. Yes. Good
Exactly.
shoulder
Yeah.
flexibility there. Good one.
Yeah, exactly. And next time I teach a spin class as well, yeah, we're all going to do hugs afterwards. So that's brilliant. Excellent. Okay, that's great, Brad. So, and you've got a free gift for everybody on that's listening today. So, can you just tell us a bit about that, please?
Oh my gosh, how exciting. Free stuff.
Yeah.
I just did launch a nicely redesigned website. So if you look at bradkearns.com, there's a lot of excitement, fun, and games there. And all you got to do is fill out the form. And there's an assortment of fun PDFs that I think you'll enjoy on distinct subjects. One of them is about how to become a connoisseur of dark chocolate and how many health benefits there are of one of my favorite foods, and totally allowable when we're talking about transitioning to healthy eating as a nice treat and a replacement for the sugary treats that don't offer much in nutrition. I have a nice food rankings chart called the Carnivore Scores. And so you can see in a tiered fashion the world's most nutrient dense foods and kind of help plan your meals to emphasize the foods that give you the most nutritional value. There's another one called Long Cuts to a Longer Life. And it's kind of the stuff I talked about here, where doing things like a morning routine, micro workouts, getting up and moving around more throughout the day, optimizing your sleep habits. And it's a nice short read, but it'll give some memorable takeaways that you can put into action right away. So that's all at bradkearns.com. And you can also listen for the Brad Kearns or the BRAD podcast. I have a lot of interesting guests on there, and I do a lot of breather shows where I'm just talking to you about a specific subject and really focusing on stuff that you can actually use right away, cutting to the chase kind of when you were talking about, these experts being interviewed for an hour and a half. And then I kind of come in there and say, look, here's what we're looking at. Get up in the morning, leash up your dog, walk around the block. Great stuff.
Brilliant, fantastic. And I love the picture you've got in the background as well of your podcast. I love that with the high jump as well. Excellent. And your book as well, 2 meals a day. So brilliant. Thanks, Brad. That's been fantastic. And that's really, really helpful for our listeners. We really appreciate you talking to us today. So thank you very much. And I'll put the link in the chat below for everybody, so they've got that, and then they can check out your website and everything else. So thank you very much, Brad. Much appreciated.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Great program. Keep it up, people.
Cheers. Okay, team. So that was Brad. That's fantastic, isn't it? So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. It's really is such a nice chap, isn't he? So yeah, well done to Brad. That was great. And we've got next we've got Katie. Or we can actually do so. Susan's on the call at the moment. So let's have a look. All right. Susan, if you want to go next, you are welcome. If not, I've got Katie recorded. So, hi, Susan, how are you? Can you just unmute yourself?
There we go.
Oh yeah, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. Really good. And yeah, we've finished our heat wave here, so yeah, we'll go.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's up to you, Susan. If you want to go next, we can. If not, I've got a pre-recorded one for the next 20 minutes. So
sure. I mean, I'm good. I just hopped on just to listen, but yeah, I can do whatever.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay. Okay, well, you might have your listeners coming on shortly anyway, but
you know what? I think that's a good point.
Yeah, okay. So what we'll do is I'll play Katie's one next, and then we'll come to you in about 20 minutes. That'd be fantastic.
That sounds great.
And yeah, I shall also put in the chat Brad's things in shortly, and we'll just go for the next one. So bear with me, everybody.
Chris.
Okay, so now we have Katie Cannon. Hi, I'm super excited to welcome Katie Cannon to the show. And yeah, you're going to love this one. So she is a 5 times British gymnastic champion, plus gym owner, entrepreneur extraordinaire, mum to amazing kids, and owner of a successful coaching business. So welcome, Katie. Great for you to be here.
Thank you, Chris. It's an absolute honor to be part of your incredible show that you've put together. And thank you so much for inviting me.
Brilliant. I'd just like you to share a bit about your yourself and your bio, if that's okay for our listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you used the word extraordinaire. I wouldn't go that far, but I absolutely love that. So yeah, I just wanted to, I'm actually recording this from my kitchen. So apologies about my gap in here. I'm isolating because we've had in one of my gyms, we've had a COVID case. So I'm working from home from my kitchen. The delights of being an entrepreneur is great because you can work anywhere. So yeah, let me take you on a short journey. So obviously I was a British champion gymnast. I did 2 worlds, 2 Europeans, and very much started gymnastics from the age of 4 to 22. So I had a long career. I like to say I retired at age 22, which sounds quite impressive. And then fresh out of university, started my first business in the personal training space, and then went on to build gymnastic gyms because I always saw that's where my niche was, and not rather than the personal training space. And then very much entered the online space a couple of years ago and have gone on to work with many health and fitness entrepreneurs, helping them build incredible businesses within this space.
Wow, that's brilliant. Yeah, and it's really good to talk to a champion as well.
If I was recording this in my office, I might have shown you some backflips as well, but I'm at home. So.
Okay, yeah. We'll have to get your autograph later as well. Brilliant. Okay, so I've got some questions to ask you, which is related to our show topic of helping our parents get from an unfit parent to a healthier, fitter parent. Mm-hmm. So first question for you. So a lot of our parents won't have a lot of time to exercise with their busy schedules and the family, and also they might not even know where to start. So what would you recommend with your expertise in this?
In this field, so it's interesting because I get asked this question, and in fact, I was actually asked this question in the playground the other day when I met a new parent, and he said to me, he was asking about my gymnastic background, and he had children very similar. So my children, I've got Emily who's 6 and Ashton who is 2. And even though I've come from a high performance background as a gymnast, I still really struggle fitting in exercise. And he said to me, you must be so fit with your background. And I said, you know what? I exercise to maintain and to keep my mindset strong and to keep me where I want to be and to keep myself fit and healthy for the children and for myself, of course. But I said, I'm not at high performance level in terms of fitness, because even if I wanted to, at the minute while the children are young and I've got busy businesses, I don't have the time to spend 2 or 3 hours a day in the gym. So I love to share that, Chris, because I think sometimes people put you on a pedestal and they think, oh gosh, she's achieved all of this, or they see an Olympic run and they think they must be fit for life. But you're always working that consistency muscle. You're always working at how to make it happen and juggle family life and juggle business and juggle full-time work. And oh yeah, I've got to exercise. So wherever you're at along your journey, just know, for even if you've been an expert gymnast or an expert karate champion, or you've never done sport in your life, the struggle is the same. It's just about making it happen and controlling your mindset. So what I'd say in terms of starting to fit exercise in, if you've got a busy, very much busy family life, is to just get consistent. So don't set yourself, and I'm the worst for this. I'm a bit of an overachiever. I'm very hard on myself. So this is my kind of character. Chris, you'll laugh. And you'd be like, and it won't surprise you after, knowing each other for a while, you'll be like, I'm an all or nothing person. So I'm like, going to run a marathon this year. I barely fit in 20 minutes of running every morning, but you know what? I'm going to run 20 miles a week kind of thing. Never happens. So that's something that I've really, really struggled with in managing my expectations. So my best tip would be is just set something that you can be consistent with every single day. And consistency is a miracle. You can build anything from a successful business to a very healthy lifestyle, to a successful career. If you want to learn a new skill, you can be consistent at anything if you're putting aside, say, 20 to 30 minutes a day to work on that particular skill. And sometimes you think 20 to 30 minutes a day doesn't sound very much, but when that impacts over time, there's an amazing book which I love. You may have read it, Chris. Have you read The Compound Effect?
No, I've not read that one. No.
Okay. Get that one. It's called it's The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And whatever you're wanting to achieve, I highly recommend grabbing that book because his concept relates to everything. And it's about doing something every day that duplicates over time. So you don't have to think, I've got to run on a treadmill for an hour and a half every day to get the result that you want to achieve. You don't have to run a marathon to get the result you want to achieve. You just have to be consistent on something every day. So if you're really struggling to get any consistency in, start super small and literally go for 5 minutes every day, maybe Monday to Sunday, maybe Monday to Saturday, maybe just do 5 days a week, whatever you want to commit to, but literally write it in your calendar, write it in. I have it in my Google Drive. So I have it in my Google Calendar and I have it in my diary, and I'll show you because I'm a bit of a highlighter. I love a highlighter. So you'll see, this is my day today. And I literally, it's in here as well. So it's scheduled into time blocks, but it's actually got in here, exercise, clean eating, personal development, because I work on myself and I'm reading and doing different podcasts and things that I listen to on a daily basis. So that I've now highlighted it because today I have been consistent and I have done my exercise. So again, that doesn't have to be long. It could be literally 5 minutes. But if you don't write it down, it doesn't get done. If it's not in your calendar, it doesn't get done. And I tell you feel so good when you get that highlighter or you can tick it off and you're like, oh, I've done it for today. And then you don't need to feel guilty about not doing it the whole day. Because I bet if anyone's like me, you then go the whole day about wishing that you'd done it and then feel guilty because you haven't done it. So I hope that helps, Chris. And I hope you've all found that super useful in just start. If you're super, super busy, just start super, super small and just be consistent with that. And then you can always develop that further.
That is fantastic. So you heard it here. Consistency is the big word of the day. That is fantastic. And diarise everything and get a highlighter. So, yeah, absolutely. Go and get your highlighter. That is fantastic. Okay, another question for you. So you're obviously an expert in managing your really successful business as well as a family. And a family is almost like a business, isn't it? And they get the stresses of both.
Full-time jobs.
Exactly, yeah. So what tips would you recommend to our listeners who are trying to juggle the two?
Very similar to what I've just said, really. Yeah. I would say, because the two go hand in hand, it all comes down to putting it in your diary and being consistent. But it's just kind of knowing what you're capable of achieving. So we all have different goals and we all have different aims for ourselves. It's putting in, you will deal with what you've got on your plate. So everybody, sometimes people look at me and they say, oh, gosh, I don't know how you do it. You've got a couple of businesses, like I said, 2 young children, and you're trying to exercise, trying to have a life at the same time. And I said, you know what? It hasn't always been like that. I remember being super busy without children. And when the children came along, I learned a whole new concept. Children are like, I'm sure when Thomas came along, and you're thinking, now you realize what busy is, and you realize what on earth you were doing before. So just know wherever you're at in your world, you will adapt and you will grow to that next level, but just having something consistent in place that you can stick to. So going back to that consistent word, consistent, is pop it in your diary and just be consistent with it. daily. So if you've got your diary, the best thing I always say is literally put everything in your diary, from work to family time, to leisure time, to your exercise time, to your downtime. Literally put everything in your calendar. And if you might think everybody works different to this, where you might not like to have it all scheduled out by the hour. But if you want to fit things in, unfortunately, it has to be the case. Otherwise, it just doesn't get done. And literally be committed and keep consistent to your word on your calendar and your commitments. So that way, when you've got your whole week in your schedule, you then don't feel guilty. You're not looking at going, when am I going to find time to exercise? Because you're like, oh yeah, that's between 6 and 6:30 in the morning, for example. When am I having dinner with my family? When am I taking my son to cinema with his friends? It's in the calendar. So I think that comes back to what we were just sharing. It doesn't have to be a make or break. It doesn't have to be, well, if you can't exercise for an hour or 2 hours a day, then you don't exercise. Even just doing 10 press ups a day rather than nothing, or 5 sit-ups, is going to get you further down the line in the end with fitting it all in. So there isn't really a magic word I could say on how I fit it in. I'm very good at delegating. I have a great VA in my business who's a virtual assistant who helps me. And over time, if she wasn't in the Philippines, I'd have her at my house and delegated so much of my house stuff and housekeeping stuff out. But yeah, just source help where you can, even if it is just, an hour a week of someone coming to clean your house, so that you can then focus on the tasks that you actually want to do and that you actually are passionate about doing as well. So I think the words there are consistency, be consistent, get it in the diary, and very much get help, and don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it.
That's brilliant. Yeah, thank you, Katie. That's excellent. And I even try and get my son involved. So when I have to learn new body pump choreography or new spin tracks, I'll get him involved. So when we're in the car, we'll listen to loads of music and say, which do you think's a good spin track? And he'll say, yeah, it's getting him involved. And when I do learn a new body pump choreography, he's always involved. And he says, oh, can I try a bit as well? So that way it's multitasking, trying to get him healthy as well, at the same time as trying to manage your own time. And I love,
Chris, just to add something in there, Chris, it's super valuable. One of my mentors said to a couple, I heard this about 8 or 9 years ago. They said, your family watching you build a business, obviously it was related to building a business. Your family watching you build a business will be the best skills that they will ever learn, because they're watching you fail. They're watching you succeed. They're watching you learn new things. And sometimes I think as kids, they look at us and think, you don't need to learn anymore. You're an adult. Yeah. Or, you don't fail. You never do anything wrong. But when you're honest with your kids, you say, I don't know how to do that. I don't know the answer. Can you help me? I need to work on this. I need your help. When you're really bringing them in, and relate the same to exercise, say to them, do you know what, mummy really needs to get fit. I need to really work on my tummy muscles. Can you help me? Can we do 5 press-ups a day together? They will feel good because they're helping you. And again, it's something nice to do together.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I love that. Yeah, I remember my son doing press-ups with him on my back. So it's yeah, and I love what you. Yeah, we wouldn't do it now; it's too heavy. But and I love what you said about diarising as well, and putting things in like your downtime and when you're going to eat and your work and family time. And I tried this one of my clients where it said, right, you need to put 8 hours of sleep into your calendar to make sure that you get it, because he's only getting 6 hours sleep. And now, because he's put 8 hours in there, he gets 8 hours sleep, because he knows he's going to do it and go to bed at a certain time. So it's amazing. You can put everything in your calendar and and sticking to it, consistency, as you said.
And also what you just said with that calendar, it's the amount of time when you really look at your calendar, you'll be amazed at how much crap that you don't need to do. Or you'll be amazed at how much time you actually spend watching TV that you don't need to do. Or I'm not saying never watch TV, but maybe just do half an hour a night or an hour a night just to relax, or however you like to relax. But when you really get conscious of your time, not just with fitting exercise in, you'll suddenly realize how much other things you can do as well.
Exactly. That's fantastic. I mean, you don't want to waste 5 hours a night watching Netflix when you can be doing lots of other different things to improve your health. And get the family involved. So that's really good.
Yeah,
Good tip you've got
exactly.
there. Yeah,
No, amazing.
fantastic. Yeah, excellent. Another question for you. So obviously, you're into your healthy mindset and you're a high achiever. So why is a healthy mindset so important for performance levels in business and as a parent?
Oh gosh, well, energy and mindset are just the most important thing for you to work on, without a doubt. I find as a parent, when I'm eating unhealthy and when I'm not exercising, I'm less patient. Things get me down a lot more. So if something pisses me off, or I don't get as much sleep, or the kids are winding you up, I find I snap a lot quicker if I'm not getting what I need. And yeah, just I find general your day just runs away with you. I find when you're just not in that healthy mindset, and you just deal with issues completely different. So your energy, obviously, by eating healthily and really trying to fit your exercise in. I personally found, I remember saying to Andre, my other half, probably about a year ago, and this was during lockdown, I said, I can't afford not to eat well, because I feel absolutely rubbish when I don't. And my energy's on the floor and I can't keep up with them. My 2-year-old now, he's everywhere. And when I'm not feeling good, there's no way I can do a day with him and give him the best of me, because he's just exhausting. He's just absolutely exhausting. So keeping that to that level and just filling that time in, and you'll find you'll feel more tired doing 10 minutes a day to start with, because it's a new habit. You're building that in. But again, over time, that will become easy. And you'll find the days you don't do it, that you're actually more sluggish. So if you start this habit and the first week you'll be like, Katie, what she's told me to do, Chris, oh my goodness, I hate this. What they told me to do this, I feel awful. And then suddenly it kicks in, a bit like when you're starting healthy eating. At first you'll crave the sugar, and then you won't so much, because your body is adapting to it.
Sure, that's fantastic. Yeah, I totally agree on that one. And it's especially when you notice when you haven't had a good night's sleep. So obviously in the UK we've had a heat wave recently, and so many people have not slept well at all because of the heat. We're not used to it, and then they have such a rubbish day the next day because they're so drained and they lack that energy. And then they're not drinking enough water, and the body's craving for that water, so we're lacking that energy. And it's amazing because people don't prioritize their sleep often. And obviously this was a good example of it. So that's brilliant. Thank you for those tips.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, excellent. So hopefully you've got a free gift for us today for the for our viewers.
Absolutely.
From your amazing self.
Yeah, so I've got a chance for you to have a one-to-one call with myself. So this will really help you if you're wanting to improve. Really focus very much on the consistency part. So if you're wanting to look at your routine and how to build that consistency in, and adding that mind piece section into the equation, let's jump on a call together. Let me see how I can break your routine, because very much from a bird's eye view, when you get another set of eyes on your day, your calendar, you'll see different tweaks where you can really make improvements. So I will send, Chris will give you access, because this is pre-recorded. I can't pop it on the chat, but he will give you access to my calendar, and you can book in a time that is convenient for you.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Katie. I'm sure a lot of people do that because that's really useful. And I'm sure we've all really, really enjoyed all your tips. And it's great to speak to someone who's like being a champion and can juggle all the different things so well. So thank you ever so much for that. And it's great that not only you're a champion, but you're also a parent as well. And yeah, so now as parents,
I actually think being a parent is harder than was being a British athlete.
Oh yeah. Definitely when they can't
sleep. Definitely hard. It's definitely harder. Well, Chris, thank you so much for having
thank you.
It's an absolute honor.
Brilliant. Okay, thanks, Katie. I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Chris. Bye.
Okay, bye. Okay, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. So that was Katie Cannon, and I'll put her details in the chat in a second, as well as Brad's. So yeah, just quickly grab some water, and yeah, it's getting hot here. Hope you're doing okay. So next on our list, we are going to speak to Susan. Let's just check she's still there. Yeah, that's brilliant. Okay, so I shall just pin you, and yeah, it's fine. There we go. Excellent. So Susan, hello. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me. This is great to be here.
Thank you. So Susan Niebergau is from America, as you can probably tell from her accent. She is an American online weight loss coach, podcaster, fitness guru, and presents the Strong and Lean at Any Age podcast. And she is strong. I mean, just look at those biceps. It puts me to shame. That is really, really impressive. So I had to teach 2 classes in the gym this morning to cover somebody. I'm like on the floor. I don't know how you do it. So that is amazing. So welcome to the show. We've got some people on live, and we've also, because of the time difference, we're sending the replay later, because obviously in America it's still early in the day, and in Australia it's nighttime.
Yeah.
So welcome to you. So I just said a bit about you. If you could just share with our audience a short bio about what you do, please, that'd be fantastic.
Sure. So I own Susan Niebergau Fitness. I'm an online strength coach. I come to the industry from an education background. I was a teacher and school counselor for 33 years and started Susan Niebergau Fitness. Gosh, I retired maybe 6 years ago. So it's been around that time where I started my business, where basically I would work with people one-on-one to help them get stronger, lose weight, and especially focusing on middle-aged women, because I feel like middle-aged women just get stuck. There's so many beliefs that we've had growing up that keep us from actually attaining the goals that we can attain. And I am one of these people that was a consummate yo-yo dieter. I yo-yo dieted almost my entire life until about 6 years ago, when I hired my coach, Jordan Syatt, and basically we changed everything. Everything changed: my mindset, my physique, my health. I lost a bunch of weight, and I've built a ton of strength and muscle. So my message is to everyone, it's not too late to do whatever you want to do, because I am no one special. I don't have great genetics. As a matter of fact, I have horrible genetics. I'm not an athlete. I don't have any gifts like that physically. I just worked really hard, surrounded myself with the right people, and decided enough was enough. And I was going to start to make changes and take responsibility for what I was and was not doing. And so now I run Susan Niebergau Fitness, but most of my business right now is working with the Inner Circle with Jordan Syatt. He and I run the Inner Circle together, which is a group online coaching and fitness community where we provide workouts, lots of video content on mindset, nutrition, and training, and then a community of probably the most supportive people we've ever been around. So that's kind of my main focus now, because we can scope this out and reach more people this way. And that's kind of what I've set out to do. I wrote a book called The Strong and Lean, called Fit at Any Age, It's Never Too Late. The other one was my podcast. And the book is basically a fitness memoir. It is just about all the mistakes I made for decades, how I corrected them all eventually and turned it all around and built a business, hooked up with Jordan and started coaching the Inner Circle, and then just kind of a whole how-to section, how you can do it too. It's kind of a little bit inspirational, just a little bit of, if I can do this, so can you, kind of thing.
Wow, that's fantastic. And I love that. And then just to put into context, so in America, you've got over 100,000 followers on Instagram. So where I live in Sutton Coldfield in England, that's more people than live in the whole area.
Yeah.
So that's just to show how big you are in America.
I appreciate that. And I will say my following's from all over the world, not just in America. I've never really seen the breakdown. Probably America is where most of them are, but I have a lot of followers over in the UK and just all over the world. It's fascinating. That's the most fascinating part about online, is just how we are all connected now, through the internet. It's crazy.
It is. It's amazing. And like before the pandemic, who would have known that in the future the world would be Zoom?
Yep.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So already we've had some other speakers on talking about like fitness, health, motivation, and ways to help get not just parents, but also busy professionals as well into changing the lifestyles. And often they don't know how to do it. straight away because it's something new to them. It might be they've had a scare off the doctor. It might be that wake-up call they've just had. And there's lots of different reasons why people suddenly start that journey, and they don't always know. So you're a great inspiration, and you're incredibly fit and strong. Were you always like that, or did you suddenly one day just decide to get super fit?
I was definitely not always fit and strong, that's for sure. I've posted a lot of kind of before and after kind of photos of me, all of which were in my 50s. Like the before photos were still in my 50s, where I was much heavier than I am now. So I've never been that strong and fit, lean person. I was just the opposite for decades. What happened though is I would lose a bunch of weight, and I would look smaller, and then I wouldn't know how to maintain it. And so then I would just put some or most of that back on. So I did that up and down yo-yo thing all for decades, decades worth of that. So it was, I think in my early 50s, when menopause was hitting me, and I remember standing in my bathroom, looking down at my belly one day and going, what has happened to me? It's like it appeared overnight. And of course it didn't, but I didn't understand what was going on, because honestly, there wasn't a lot of talk about menopause and what the symptoms are, what happens to you and all that kind of stuff. But I started reading just a little bit about it. And I'm like, oh, well, this makes sense. My belly is here because menopause is here. I get this now. So all I need to do is go to my doctor. I'll probably be diagnosed with like a slow metabolism, which is something that could happen, whatever. That's the reason this happened. And I'll go to my doctor, I'll get the test done. She's going to give me some medication, and it's going to change everything. Right. So I made that doctor's appointment, had the work done, and all my tests came back fine. I didn't have a slow metabolism. My thyroid was fine. Hormones were all okay. Everything was where they needed to be. So that moment was, should have been a great relief, meaning I was in control of everything, which is actually great news. But I took it the other way. It was like, oh no, if that's not it, then what is it? And I refused to look at what I was doing. But that forced me to do it. So I had to look at, okay, I have no more excuses now. It's about me and what I'm not doing. And that was kind of that started the turning point. Because I started making little changes at that point. And shortly thereafter is when I hired Jordan, and then I started putting everything together. But it was really taking responsibility for all the things that I had not done, and honestly thought I was doing right all those decades, trying to lose weight. And finally educating myself, surrounding myself with people who understood, who pushed me, who educated me, and then making the necessary changes and being honest about it, being consistent with it, and being patient with it. And the overriding message here is I did that when I was like 53, 54 years old, right? So it's never too late to make a change. And I need to make that really clear. So many of us think it was way too late, and it's just not. You just have to decide to do it, roll up your sleeves, and actually put in the work and be consistent with it.
That's brilliant. It is. And for what Katie was saying earlier, she was saying about being consistent as well. And so many people say consistency is the way to do it, and knowing why you're doing it, and it's not too late to start. My journey started 5 years ago. I mean, I used to go to the gym occasionally, whereas now actually for a hobby teaching the gym. I taught 2 classes earlier, but it's like you don't have to do it when you're in your 20s. You can happen in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. It's suddenly getting that wake up call and thinking, yeah, I need to prioritize my health and sort it out. And once you actually start, it's actually really enjoyable. I mean, I find it enjoyable to keep fit and healthy, and just feel better in yourself. It's so nice to wake up in the morning and jump out of bed. Not feel tired anymore.
I mean, to that point, it's interesting because so many people are so focused on the outcome. They're so focused on the outcome, specifically the number that the scale tells them. That's their focus. And that's kind of a backwards way to do it. If you focus on the journey, the benefits, why we move, why we exercise, instead of thinking of exercise from a weight loss perspective, like I'm trying to exercise to lose weight, we should be thinking of exercise as a way to build strength, build muscle, feel better, move better, increase bone density, all those things. It's not a way to lose weight. Nutrition is the way you lose weight. Working out is the way you improve your health. And I think if we look at it that way and categorize things that way, we can focus more on the journey and less on the actual outcome. Because when we do that, the outcomes happen. You know, when we focus on what we can do to be better, to be more consistent, those kinds of things, every step along the way, the outcome happens. It always does. But we focus too much on the scale. Oh my God, the scale went up today. I was perfect with my nutrition. Oh my God, it's not working. You know, we get so wrapped up into that, and emotion comes out and starts ending up ruling the roost. And we end up spinning our wheels just because of that.
Exactly. And it is so important to just focus on it. I mean, for a lot of people, as you say, the scale's the most important thing. But often, you might not change in weight, but if your belt is lighter and your clothes suddenly fit you better, but it might be because you've got extra muscle. But it's, people are so obsessed with the scales, aren't they? And it's such a shame, because it's not about it's the whole health. It's the energy, the waking up, feeling fantastic.
You know, I will say this, people in my generation, we grew up with thinking if the scale went up, that was bad. If it went down, that was good. That was it. There was like no talk of scale fluctuations and what happens on a normal day. If you were to step on the scale 10 times during the day, I mean, don't ever do that. But if you did, you would see it go all over the place, it would drive you crazy. And that's all that is normal. But we didn't know that growing up, right? It was just, if it was up, that was bad. If it was down, that was good. And so now there's so much talk and explanation about why the scale fluctuates, which is wonderful. So now we have an idea, but letting go of stuff that we believed for 40 years is not easy. I mean, it's not easy. I tell everyone this, when I see the scale go up, I get a little kick in the gut. I don't like it. I don't think there's a person on the planet that likes to see the scale go up. I mean, it's okay to not like it, but it's not okay to let that feeling now determine what you do next. Like, oh, I've got to reduce my calories. Oh, I've got to do extra cardio today. Oh, I missed a workout. I've got to work twice now. That's emotion running the show. And that's where you get into trouble. We know that we didn't gain fat overnight. Logically, somewhere back in our head, we know that that's not possible. But still, we interpret it. We emotionally feel that. We have to stop that piece, the emotional piece. And it's not easy. I mean, those of us that have been around a while, we know we've been believing this crap for 45 years, right? So we just have to we have to have a conversation with ourselves. And I do it all the time. I am telling myself all the time, shut up. You are doing fine. You did not gain fat overnight. You did not do this, and now what happens is I get that little kick in the gut. If the scale goes up, I feel it. Okay, I don't like it. And then I put it away. It's done. I now move on, right? But that's after practicing. Telling myself to shut up and let logic come to the forefront instead of emotion.
Oh yeah, definitely. And a lot of the time it's about how you feel about yourself, not just the scales. I remember when I was teaching a class this morning, the people sort of over 30 were actually fitter than the youngsters. And they was like, wow, these people are really going for it. And, they feel so energetic. I know people in their 70s that do spin classes or body pumping and think, wow, that is really impressive, because they don't look at the scales every day. They just want to be, feel good and live longer. So that's great. And it leads on to another one, talking about as we get older. So there's a risk of us getting brittle bones and osteoporosis as we get older. And a lot of people don't even think about that. And I say to people in their 40s and early 50s, look, do something about it now, because you don't want to wait till it's too late. I mean,
right.
My mum's 75 and she still goes swimming every day and does Pilates, and she looks after herself. But, compared to a lot of other people in their 70s, that they probably wish that they'd done something when they were younger. So what tips have you got for people to sort of prevent osteoporosis and brittle bones?
Got to start strength training. I mean, research shows that you can improve your bone density if you start resistance training, let's call it, which means you need to lift some weight. And the great news here is, even if you have some bone density issues, if you've gotten tested and you have some issues, you can improve it. So it's not completely irreversible, right? You can still change that, which is the most amazing thing. No matter how old you are, you can make improvements to that very thing by lifting weights. And so a lot of times people hear lift heavy weight, and in their head, it's like, oh my God, I've got to lift, 500 pounds off the floor and, this go to the big barbells and all the plates and do all that kind of lifting. And no, that's not what lifting heavy means. It can mean that for you if you want to do that, but heavy weight is relative to the individual. So like if you're grabbing these teeny tiny little dumbbells, you're probably not doing yourself any service whatsoever. But finding a weight that is challenging for you for any exercise is what's really important. And that's what determines what heavy is. The last 2 reps need to be so challenging that you feel like you might not make it, but you do. That's a great weight to build strength on. And then eventually that weight's going to become easy and you're going to need to increase the weight. And when you increase weight, it doesn't mean if you're using a 10-pound dumbbell that you look all the way down at the end of the dumbbell rack and you pick out the 90-pound dumbbell. That's stupid. You go to the next weight and you keep pushing yourself out of a comfort zone of, I can do this weight. It feels easy, cool. You're not doing yourself any service doing that either. You have to find that sweet spot, which comes with experience of lifting. When it's time to increase weight and when it's not. But the key comes back to lifting weight as far as improving your bone density. If you can lift weight now and keep trying to improve, getting stronger, building muscle, if you take a fall when you are in your 80s or whatever, that used to mean automatic hip breakage or something, right? Hip replacement, knee replacement, something like that. Not anymore. Not if you start building strength now and increasing the density of your bones. No, that's not what that means anymore, right? And so lifting weight, improve your bone density, build muscle mass, and will lead you to a much more functional life as we get older. And I know, I lived through watching my mom deteriorate. And I see my friend Linda here is on here as well. And I know she's been through the same thing. We talk about that, where we see our parents deteriorating and not being able to move as much, or my mom didn't have strength to even turn a doorknob or get herself up out of a chair. And her generation, they just didn't know the stuff that we know, right? And the generation after me, they know more than I did at that age. So take advantage of what we know to work for us now, and then implement it now so that when you are in your 80s or 90s, you're still moving, you're still active, you're still doing anything that you want to do. It's that important.
That's brilliant. I totally agree. It's fantastic. So yeah, and it's good because it's so important. You often like look back at things in the past and think, oh, if only I'd done that, this would have happened. And so by looking after our bodies now, it's an investment. So like 20 minutes a day now is worth so much more in the future. In 20 years time, when you can't even move properly, be like, oh, I wish I just spent 10, 20 minutes a day when I was younger. I mean, what's 10 minutes out of your day? It's nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I know everyone's busy, and that's part of this whole thing is how to get some stuff done in a busy schedule. And I think one thing that people get really hung up on is they feel like in order for it to be worth it, they have to go to the gym, spend an hour or 2 or whatever they think they need to do there, come back from the gym. And now this block of time is huge. And no one has that kind of time, especially if you're working and stuff. And I think it's not about the length of time. And that's probably one of the most common questions I get asked is, how long should my workouts be? And it's not about time. It's about the quality of what you bring to whatever length of time it is. So if you have 3 exercises you're doing 3 sets of, you can make that really effective by bringing intensity, moving a lot of weight, focusing on your technique, on your breathing and bracing. There's a lot of things you can do to make those 3 exercises incredibly effective, right? You don't have to spend an hour and a half in the gym. You just don't have to do it. I think my workouts now have 4 exercises. That's pretty much it. My workouts have gotten shorter over time, but I am dead tired at the end because I really work hard for those 4 exercises in the way it's set up. So it doesn't have to be this huge thing. You can make lots and lots of changes by working out for a shorter period of time, but, and this is a big but, you have to bring intensity to that period of time.
Oh yeah, totally. I totally agree with that one as well, because it's if you've only got a small amount of time, a 20-minute workout can be far more, gaining so much more than saying doing a whole hour or an hour and 20 minutes when, if you're doing high intensity,
Yeah.
do it in a much shorter time. So that leads on to another thing I've noticed. So some of my clients are always like, oh, I'm too embarrassed to go in the gym, or you never find me in the gym. And other people, they start their journey in the gym. So what would you recommend to people who really do not want to go into the gym, but they still want to get healthy or, improve their fitness?
I think if you've never been really in a gym, it can be intimidating. Most of what we're thinking is up in our own head. It's not reality. For instance, most people think everyone's watching me, everyone's staring at me, they're judging me, they're making fun of me, whatever. And the reality is no one cares what you're doing. We create this in our head, right? Ourselves. And one way to get over that is go to your gym. And if you're comfortable on a treadmill, go to the gym and get on the treadmill. Just spend time in the facility, soaking up the vibe that is in your gym, seeing the people, watching how people operate in there. Just get your feet in the door on something that that you feel comfortable with, whether it's a treadmill, bike, whatever. Start there. Next step could be maybe you take a class. I started working out by taking classes. That's what I did. And that brought me back more and more and more, because the community part of a class is really cool, right? The instructors are very energetic. You're with other people. That can be another step to get your feet in the door. And then the other thing I tell people is this: go hire a trainer in that gym for a handful of sessions and have them take you around the free weight section. Have them write you routines that you could do on your own after you've gone through them. This person will watch your form, will help you with technique, will help build confidence, so that when you're done, you can now go into the gym yourself and go to the free weight section and start lifting more weights. And, the biggest thing here is when you go to the gym, you need to be prepared, meaning you need to know what you're going to do. I mean, even someone like me, who writes programs for other people, who knows a lot about that. If I don't have a program, when I walk into the gym, I'm like, okay, so what am I going to do today? And I'm just trying to think. I can't bring up the millions of things I know I can do. I just get there and it's just like, just like anybody else, right? I always have my workout printed on a piece of paper in front of my face. And like in the Inner Circle, we have a new app now. And when our members go into a gym, they click on their workout. And if they don't remember how to do an exercise, click on it, and there's a little tutorial that pops up immediately. So having that info ahead of time, looking over your workout before you set your foot in the door, all of that preparing and planning is going to make you feel more confident, right? And the last thing you want to do is let some imaginary person in your head who you feel like is going to stare at you or judge you be the reason that you don't go to the gym. That is the absolute last thing you want. You need to push through that fear a little bit, hit it head on, hire the trainer, go to the class, be prepared, whatever it is, and get to the gym anyway and do it. And focus more on how you're going to feel afterwards, and less on the fear that you feel in that moment, right? Because if you focus on that fear, it will probably paralyze you. If you focus on how am I going to feel after I've done this, that will get you into the gym too.
Brilliant. I love that. That's so good. And it is because we all started somewhere, didn't we, once? Like we'd never been in the gym before. I remember the first time I went in there, and now love it. You can't keep me out there, but it's so daunting. So that's really good tips you've given.
I think just being prepared. It's like being prepared with your nutrition, being prepared with your training. It's the same thing. It'll make that experience easier.
Definitely, yeah. Okay, so a very quick question for you now. It's running out of time. What does your morning routine look like as a super fit hero?
In the summer, the first thing I do when I wake up is I usually go for a short walk. Literally, I put on my clothes and I just go put something on. Sports radio usually is what I do. And just 15 minutes tops just to wake up. And then the next priority is coffee. And then basically I schedule my days the same way. My mornings are exactly the same almost every day. After I do that, I get into the email for the Inner Circle. I have a lot of catching up to do on that. I'll spend time doing that. If I want to post on social media, I will figure out how I want to do that for that day. And my next priority is I go to the gym if it's a workout day for me. And I make sure I prioritize myself early in the day. Anything that requires my brain to really think, or be creative or respond intelligently, I do early. I feel like I'm more awake. I can accomplish more things earlier in the day rather than later in the day. And yeah, that's kind of how I start every single day. It's all work related. My goal is to help as many people as possible. So when I'm doing the emails, that's what I'm doing. Sometimes I'll have a phone call in the morning also. And when I'm planning social media, I also answer all my DMs in social media. So a lot of times I'm sending video messages or voice messages, or it's all that kind of thing.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, I like your routine. So yeah, I'm going to try that one because now that's actually raining now, which is quite good because we haven't had rain for ages and this is a wet country. So brilliant. Okay, thank you for that, Susan. So is there anything that you'd like to offer or promote to our viewers and listeners today as a thank you?
Sure. If anyone would like to join Jordan and I in the Inner Circle, we would love to give you a free month. And if you want to activate that free month, you just need to go to sfinnercircle.com. So that's Sciat Fitness, sfinnercircle.com, and use the code Magic Month. It is all caps and it's all one long word, Magic Month. And you will enter that in the code. It looks like it's going to charge you, but it's not. Our system is set up as a recurring payment, but it won't. Just use that code. Now, I will say this. If you want to stay on with us after the month, it will automatically bill you because it's going to ask you for your billing information. If you don't, all you got to do is cancel and you're never going to be charged a dime. But we would love to have you join us for a free month. There's Linda. Hi, Linda.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you, Susan. That's fantastic. Okay, and yeah, I'll put that in the chat as well. So brilliant. Thank you, Susan. I really appreciate that. And thank you for talking to us. It's your morning now as well. So thank you for doing that on your Saturday morning. Yeah, so it's afternoon here. Anyway, so thank you, Susan. That's brilliant. And you're very welcome to join us again soon. So, okay, everybody. So we were going to have a 5-minute break now, but we will actually go on to the next one. So our next one is pre-recorded again because it's Australian. So we're at Australia time is night time now. So the next one is a lady called Andy Liu from Australia. She's an actress and other bits. So I shall just change that now and you will be able to see this next one. Brilliant. Okay, so we're now going to talk to Andy Liu from Australia. So welcome, welcome, welcome. It's so great to have you on the show today.
Thank you, Chris. We're in the future, and yes, everyone's still alive.
Yeah, brilliant, excellent. Okay, so it's really great to speak to someone in Australia. So that's fantastic. Okay, so what can we tell you about Andy? So she's an actress, Australia's leading wellness expert, an author of many books, and a celebrity. So it's fantastic to have you on the show. We feel really privileged to hear you, and I'm sure everybody would be like, "Yay!" So it's fantastic. So I'd just like you to share a bit about yourself and a bit about your bio and what you do for our viewers, please.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, everyone. I've actually written 8 books, and my life's work and passion is about health and wellness. So I've been teaching it for 29 years now. I'm 48, and I had a cooking school in Melbourne where I taught lots of people, you know, people with food intolerances, alternatives to naughty foods, but the healthy version of that. And then that transpired into writing cookbooks with recipes. But a lot of my books are actually about natural parenting. I've even written a book about safe and healthy relationships online with dating apps. And my most recent book is actually this one. It's called Connected, which is a paradigm shift in how we view health. And this one is the ultimate holistic health guide to understand the difference between allopathy, which is the medical model, and wellness. But I know that today we're also wanting to talk about like parenting and things. So I've written, you know, a natural parenting, a natural birthing and parenting book. And then that transcended into a bit of a digital detox book, which is this one called Wellness Loading. And this is my son here, but he's now 11. So I guess my most favorite job is that of being a mother to a tween. And I started out in radio, and then I went into hosting television shows. And then, of course, now I've written these 8 books, but I've traveled with the content of the books all over Australia and America on live morning shows.
Wow, that's fantastic. Wow. And your books look amazing as well. So yeah, well done. That's great. Yeah, we'll have to get a copy and read that. So thank you for that. So today we're talking about parents, how to get parents from being sort of unfit to healthier. Because as parents, we have a really responsible job. You know, we're the one that they look to, and without us, you know, they're nothing. So, but often parents don't have that energy to keep up with their kids. So what we're trying to do today is promote, you know, getting healthier parents, and often parents don't even know where even to start. So yeah, brilliant. So first sort of topic I wanted to talk about is the why and the purpose as parents, and why we need to look after our health as responsible parents.
So, I mean, on that note, we're going to throw away the whole notion of do as I say, not do as I do. But yeah, it's basically a monkey see, monkey do type of thing. And that's been going on for me ever since I had a connected birth and a natural birth with my son. And some people try to label this style of parenting as attachment parenting, but I just prefer to call it parenting or respectful parenting. And some of those practices are being very aware of signs and cues before your child gets too stressed. So not letting a child cry themselves to sleep, and attending to them on demand. I mean, if you were crying, I'd give you a hug. So why on earth wouldn't you do it to your baby? But there's a lot of books out there and experts that say not to and to sleep train. But to take it right from the beginning, I'm getting my research from how we enter the world says a lot about who we are and our health. I'm getting this research from a PhD sleep scientist and author of a book called Science of Parenting by Margot Sunderland. It's very important that you understand that the way they explained that the human brain is in three parts. So you've got mammalian, reptilian, and rational parts of the brain. And those three parts of the brain don't fully integrate and become one brain until about the age of 5 to 7. So that's why there's that whole notion of show me the boy until he's 7 and then I'll show you the man or something. And that's because the rational part of the brain isn't fully integrated with the others. So when you're leaving a child to cry, it's an extraordinary release of, you know, those stress hormones. Excess cortisol it's just very psychologically damaging. The neurology can't wire in the way that it should or could or is designed to. And even though we have evolved as you know, species, and we live in big safe houses far away from each other, the way in which the human brain develops has not changed. So they still think, oh my gosh, a big lion's going to come and eat me and I'm not safe, and it's too exhausting and stressful for me to keep crying for you, so I'm just going to feign death, FEIGN, and then they kind of become a little bit emotionally unavailable, if you like, and all of those things start to transcend. Now, if that's the kind of parenting that you've already done, that's okay. There are still ways of being able to make up for it. But it's very important to have that knowledge on pure anatomy and physiology moving forward. And obviously with future children or people that you know that have children, because it makes it very easy to parent once you understand these things and you nurture your child and attend to them when they need you. They actually become a very emotionally secure person instead of the opposite of where, you know, we've been told that they're going to become so attached and needy. It actually turns out to be the opposite because the neurology has started to, you know, wire in a way that is at optimal function. So on that note, when you start to do that, it's so important to acknowledge that a child on purpose starts to put on weight and grow ever so slowly. And you, as you attend to it and rock it back to sleep or wear your baby or those sorts of things, you actually ever so slowly start to get stronger too as they grow in size and weight. And it's a natural instinct to pick up your child and rock it back to sleep because it actually promotes stimulation of the vestibular system. So that's why sometimes when you handed a baby, you're just swaying and you're like, oh, I didn't even realize I was doing that. It's a natural instinct. It's a biological and hormonal connection. We're wired to do all this because it's healthy and it promotes, you know, healthy activity of the vestibular system. So that's why I'm a fan of like child wearing and baby wearing. They also get to see the world at your eyes, and you get to have that connection and that conversation and that education because they just want to be like you, which is why they're always awake when you're awake, which is why they say sleep when your baby sleeps too. And when you wear your child and you go on hikes and, you know, you get the good backpacks and things like that, and there's the whole nother subject, But that's a really good way of integrating your child into your life and staying fit with them. And there's the whole monkey see, monkey do. It's so much easier for once they want to start walking around to get them to do the hikes with you, because they've already been doing it with you and not like getting palmed off to, you know, a babysitter or something like that. So this is, as I said, like just my style of parenting that I know has worked in terms of the research that I've done, and then how once they get a little bit older, it's so easy to implement all the rest of the things, you know. So that is, yeah, that's like some big information on prevention rather than cure. But if somebody already has, like, you know, a child that's entering their tweens or they're no longer a toddler and things like that, I think it's really important, once again, to just include them in your life, like show them what you love. And that alone should, and not should because nobody wants to be should on, but would rather inspire you to want to be a better parent, because you've been chosen to be this awesome educator, you know, and what a beautiful gift that is, that you get to teach this human, you know, what life's about. So yeah.
Wow, that is fact. I did not know all that, so that was really. I'm sure the viewer's going to like love that. So that's brilliant.
Oh,
and
good.
is that in your book as well? Your new book?
There is a little bit of information in my new book, Connected, about parenting and how the majority of that information is also in my second book called The Modern Day Mother, Babies and Sleep from Womb to One. I don't have any physical copies of that left, but if you go onto my website, it's only like $5 on the ebook for anyone that wants that. But I love the newer book, Connected, because it then goes into other health aspects of our lives as well, including nutrition and movement and the rest of it.
Brilliant. Okay. Right. The next thing I was going to talk to you about, which I saw one of your interviews on telly, was about digital devices. So obviously here, where it's first thing in the morning. So first thing my son did this morning was turn his phone on. First thing I did was check my WhatsApp messages because my VA is in the Philippines. So first thing I did, and then I thought, wow, it's not good, is it? And I know I've seen a brilliant interview you did about digital devices. So you when you talked about it, you were saying about how it can affect sleep and stress and could lead to depression. So could you just talk a bit more about digital devices?
Yeah, well, any kind of technology that has a screen, even just a television screen, it's all emitting EMFs, electromagnetic fields. It's also got a blue light, and that blue light robs our brains of what's called melatonin, which is a hormone that promotes healthy sleep. So we really need to be aware of these kinds of things so that we can start to eliminate screen time, or be really, you know, particular with setting time limits. Like during this time, I'm going to be very intentional and purposeful, and this is what I'm going to achieve. Otherwise, we do find ourselves scrolling and looking at, you know, Mark's sister's dog's cat. So we just really need to go, what am I going to do with this time? And then when I disconnect, am I going to do something really intentional with that time as well? And perhaps get back to nature, you know, whether it's cooking with live, fresh fruits and vegetables, or earthing by putting your bare feet in the grass or the soil or the sand, or just walking through a park or the snow or whatever it is, but actually touching and feeling and connecting with nature so that we can literally earth and get away from all of this electromagnetic activity, and remove the eyes from watching any sort of blue light. You can also wear blue light blocking glasses, but they only really remove about 50%. I think it's important just to note how addictive the behavior is and become very intentional and conscious. So that's why I wrote this book, you know, Wellness Loading, which is about disconnect to reconnect. And it is a digital detox, and it talks about all of the stuff that we spoke about and more. And I love actually the graphics in this, because as you go on and read a little bit more and more, there is, can you see how everything's designed in the way that it looks like the page is loading?
Yeah.
And then if you see here, this is the battery, and the battery starts to charge more and more as you go on. But I must say, this is absolutely hilarious. This is sold out in the printed version. I've only got ebook.
Oh, that's typical, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, don't look at your social media, but then read the ebook. Okay, I love that. Yeah.
No, look, I mean, and it's so funny because when that came out, somebody said to me, I know this is a really good book, but can I ask, do you have it on ebook version? I said, yes, I do. But the whole takeaway is that we're still going to implement tech into our lives. But let's be intentional. Like, we've chosen to switch on and listen to this podcast now, and we've chosen for self-development or for whatever reasons. And then when it's done, and go and live life. Don't sort of go, oh, now I'm on, what else can I do? Like, write yourself a diary and a list of things. It's like, during this time, I'm going to do self-development and podcasts and listen to this or read that. And then from this time to this time, I'm going to get up and go for a walk or whatever it is. And then when I come back, I'm then going to do my emails. And then, do you know what I mean? So have a diary and a plan.
Brilliant. So talking of diaries, I know that you're into journaling. I love journaling. I've only been doing it a year or so, but it's so good when you get to the end of the day. I mean, people do it different times of day. I do mine at the end of the day. So like today, I could say, wow, I actually got to interview Andy Liu, which is great. Put that in my journaling. But I know you're into journaling. So can you just tell us a bit about how you do your journaling?
Yeah, of course. And the thing is, because I'm a certified food, lifestyle and wellness coach, it's really, really important to note that you need to have not only an outlet to journal and write down notes and goals and things like that, but to actually have an opportunity to set intentions and talk about your higher purpose or your why. So firstly, like, I've got a space in there. I mean, if you get the ebook, you can probably print it up at home, but there's also a section about your why. And this is your higher purpose. So your higher purpose is about, basically, you're recognizing that there's something higher than you, whether you want to call it God. I like to call it the grand organized design, which is an acronym for God, that there's a higher organized intelligence, a universal intelligence that runs our innate intelligence, and that is running us. But we're here for a purpose that's greater than us, and that is, love, serve, nurture, humanity. So there's a section in here about what you would like to do and why, and it's so that I can. And then that's when the higher purpose sets in, so that I can. Well, mine would be, for example, I'm a wellness expert and educator and entertainer in natural living, so that I can inspire others to have a greater quality of life, drug-free or whatever. So the so that you can is the most important part, because when things get tough, and trust me, in life, it always gets tough. When you have your higher purpose or your why, you'll keep going, because you remember what you're here for. You'll remember what your why is, and it'll keep you going. That's something that I actually talk about with people when I wellness coach them. So if anyone's interested, we can book in a session that way as well.
Brilliant. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm going to add some extras to my journaling tonight and download yours. Excellent. So you just talked about how we eat and nutrition and things. So I know that you're big on plant-based food. Now, I read a statistic here in the UK that 98% of adults are meat eaters, but we're being promoted all the time to eat more vegan, vegetarian, but you don't necessarily need to do it all the time, but just starting to do that plant-based eating. So can you just talk to us a bit about plant-based food?
Yeah. So I'm not a vegan, however, I have been a vegetarian previously for 16 years, and I do minimally eat animal product. However, I think it's so important to just remember that we forget to eat a lot of plants. And the reason why I love recommending to remind people to eat plants is because plants actually contain the same percentage of water as what we do. So it's 70 to 80% water. We're made up of 70 to 80% water. So too is the earth, made up of 70 to 80% water. There's a connection there, which is what I talk about in my book, Connected, because we are all connected. All living things are connected. And plants give us life because they're alive, and they hydrate us too. So not only are we chronically dehydrated because we don't drink enough quality water, or even like herbal teas, for example, because I don't drink coffee, but we're not eating enough plants, which hydrate us as well. So it's not just the fiber and the micronutrition, the vitamins and minerals, but it's also the water content that comes out of plants. And when we're eating all these processed foods and foods that don't have life, micronutrition or water content, of course we're going to land up constipated and all those sorts of things, and then you wonder why. And so just start including plants into your diet again.
That's fantastic. It is so important, and as you say, we're keeping hydrated. I mean, in the UK, we're in a heat wave, which is quite rare at the moment, and everyone is just not drinking water and not eating enough, like melon and cucumber and celery, all these things that contain water as well. So it is great to get all that extra water in, even if you don't particularly like to drink water itself. So that's great, and we do need to eat more plant-based for the environment as well as our health. So that's
And
great.
think about, while you're doing that, your child's saying, oh, what's that, mum or dad? And can I have it too? And then you're all sharing it together. But
Yeah.
try and get the children to help you prepare it all as well in the kitchen. I find that's the biggest tip, is that when you actually involve, remember I said involve the children in your life. That's the other bonus of baby wearing. So that, you know, let's say you're wearing your baby and then you're reaching down to the stove or you're cutting in the kitchen. By the time they get older, they want to be a part of that act as well, you know. And then because they've had hands-on, not experience, but enjoyment with you, that's when they're more likely to try new things and healthy things, because they've actually been a part of the process. Take it one step further and start to grow things on your balcony or your garden, and that's even better. That's next level, you know, teaching children about where health comes from.
Wow, that's fantastic, and I'll get my 9-year-old to watch this later as well. And
No.
it's really good fun, as you say, when you involve them, because my son loves to make salads with me, and you know, it's great to get him involved. So yeah, it's brilliant, thank you. And we've just got time for one more subject. So you talked about the conscious connections,
Yeah.
which is new to me. So can you just tell us a bit more briefly about that, because that's a new subject?
Yeah, so this is what I talk about in my book, Connected, a paradigm shift in how we view health, and understanding that the allopathic model or the medical model is about waiting till it's broke to fix it, and then addressing it with, I guess, so that's a reactive model of care instead of a proactive model of care, but also addressing it with a mechanistic view. So that basically means that you're not admitting that, or acknowledging rather, that the knee bone's connected to the thigh bone, connected to this, you know. And so when it's wellness, it's a holistic view, and it's natural, and, you know, you're understanding that everything is connected. And it's also about seeking prevention, which is the cure, and to understand that if we give our body the right environment, it is capable and is designed to heal. But what happens is, when we disconnect and we rely on headache tablets or whatever it is, and we're not addressing the cause, only the symptom, we're also never really getting better, because the body needs to heal twice. First of all, you didn't address the cause, and now the body needs to get over the chemical toxicity that it's just put in as well. And then, like, even furthermore, you're disconnecting brain to body, so you're totally unaware of what's going on. You have no connection, so you can't actually search for the right answers. Am I dehydrated? Do I have something more sinister that I need to check up on? Should I be having chiropractic adjustments to realign my spine and take pressure off my nervous system? All of these things can help. But yeah, we are in major conditioning with, you know, big pharma selling us billions of dollars a day, selling us, you know, just take this headache tablet, it'll go straight to the source. No, it doesn't. It goes through the digestive system first and the whole nervous system, and it's going everywhere. It doesn't go straight to your headache. So, you know, medication actually disrupts the gut health and the nervous system, and sometimes even the hormones. And so, not that I'm not saying don't take medication, because you need to work with your medical practitioner. This is my disclaimer. And make sure that you talk to them, and make sure that if this is something you want to stop doing, and they should want that for you too, if you want to stop having medication, then make sure they work with you on this. But you might need to find a natural healthcare practitioner, like a naturopath or a chiropractor, and those sorts of allied health professionals, to co-manage your scenario as well. But this should be the ultimate goal, to stay connected to your body so that you're aware of the signs and symptoms, and then you can work to address the cause and not just block the symptom all the time. I have a broken ankle at the moment. This is the time that you would take medication in case of emergency. And having said that, I can't believe how dark it's getting. Having said that, I actually did not take any pain medication, because I found that I was okay with the pain, and I've got a very strong pain threshold, obviously. But I also found that once it was stabilized, it wasn't too bad. I didn't want to disrupt the microbiome in my gut. It also changes, it blocks micronutrition absorption when you take medication. So I just tried, I thought I'll just try the natural way, and then if I still can't, then I can always have the medication then. But I tried some really strong practitioner only, this thing called Curcufort, which is an anti-inflammatory, and it's high strength turmeric. and something else, and then some Advocal, which was once again practitioner only, magnesium and calcium for the bone support. And all of this was recommended by an allied health professional, and it was prescribed rather by an allied health professional. So it's not something you can go and get off a supermarket shelf and figure out for yourself. You need to work with your health care professional of choice, but do know that there are natural alternatives to every drug out there. So maybe go and try whatever it is that you've got, try and the natural way first, and then you can always go to the other way if something's too acute or it's long gone or whatever. That's when, you know, medicine works best, because where would we be without it, let's face it, in terms of emergency. So stay connected to your body signs and symptoms so that you can continue to live a better quality of life, because there's a whole chapter in that book about symptoms, or the problem is the solution.
Brilliant. Okay, that's really useful. I've learned so much from that. I'll watch the recording later and write notes on that. Excellent. Thank you very much. We're running out of time now. So if you've got an offer or anything for our viewers, that would be fantastic. I know you talked about your books.
Yeah, so look, I mean, there's no point in offering much more, because all my books are 50% off.
Brilliant.
So when you convert that to the UK dollar, instead of it being like $9.95, I think it's going to be like £5 for you.
Wow.
So
okay, that's brilliant.
Cheap.
Okay, I'll put the link in the
andylou.com.
andylou.com. Brilliant. Okay, and I'll put the link in the chat as well, so people can click on it. So brilliant. Thank you, Andy. That was really informative and great, and I'm sure our viewers will be really appreciative of that. So thank you very much. We're having a group hug, so thank you. We're probably 12,000 miles away, so sending you a group hug. And thank you very much. And
if anyone's got any questions, send me an email from my website.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you very much, and speak soon.
Stay well and stay connected.
Right, okay, hope you enjoyed that. So that was Andy Lou from Australia. Trying to do an Australian accent then. So yeah, and for me that was really good to interview somebody famous, and also like she's been interviewed by loads of really famous people on telly, and here's me in England. Wow. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that one. So our next one is coming up. Again, next one's been pre-recorded because of the time difference, but you're going to enjoy this one as well. So, and I'm going to put in the chat a lot of the links to all the people that have been talking so far. Our next one is coming up now, so I hope you're going to enjoy this one. Excellent. So next on the show from America, we have Jessie Kretzer Graham. So big welcome to you from everybody else in the rest of the world. Hello.
Thank you. Thank you for that welcome.
Oh, it's great.
Good to be
great to
here.
have you on the show. So pleased to have you. So you are a lifestyle coach, a health coach, an author, a speaker, and a work balance guru. So that's brilliant. That's a lot of things. That's brilliant. So first of all, I'd just like you to share with our audience a bit about yourself, a bio about yourself, if you could. That'd be fantastic.
Well, absolutely. So I will first say I'm 62 years old. And you know, you almost have to be 62 years old to have all of those titles, right?
Yeah.
You're not a guru at much before then. But I like to look at myself and explain myself as a 62-year-old woman that lives life full out. And just, I want to be a beacon of hope to people that they can live their best life. And personally, I've raised 2 sons, and they're 2 young men that value their health. They seek life balance and in a holistic way. And they are actually career bluegrass musicians. I like to say, in a nutshell, I'm a hope coach, because sometimes you have to give people hope before you can give them health. And sometimes you have to give them health before you can give them hope. So essentially what I do is I meet people where they are, and then I walk with them to where they want to be. I had many people in my life over these 62 years that have done that with me. And that's kind of what drives my passion. So, you know, the road to a healthier life begins with the want to and the willingness to get started and be coachable. So what I find is, you know, describing what I do, I say, you know, I do life and I discuss life with my clients. And then I can find out where their head is, and then we can kind of jump in and I can be that guide by their side. But I've also been a caregiver for my mother, who passed away at 61, 25 years ago. And that, you know, that really fed my bio, because I became very passionate about understanding how I can take care of myself and how I can help other people. I also took care of my dad, who passed away at 72, just 10 years later. So you can kind of see that's kind of my bio in a nutshell.
Wow, yeah, and that's amazing. I mean, there's no way you look 62 at all. That is
Well,
absolutely
thank you.
amazing. Yeah.
Thank
Oh,
you for putting that down for the record, since this is a podcast.
definitely, yeah, excellent. Okay, brilliant. Okay, that's fantastic. So that's great what you just said, and yeah, and it's good as well with your family as well. And you know you've been a parent and you know the stresses and the strains and trying to juggle things as well as looking after yourself and keeping healthy. So that's fantastic. So today we're talking about how to get like healthier and fitter parents and putting ourselves first, because at the end of the day we're responsible for our kids, and you know without us, if we pop our clogs tomorrow, then you know where they're going to be. So it's important that we're selfish sometimes in order to prioritize our health in order to help them. So today we're talking about how to get our parents fitter, healthier, more energetic, so we can keep up with our kids. So I've had experiences 5 years ago when I was overweight and I had no energy, and my son used to get frustrated. So it's good that we can help parents get to where they need to be. So I'm going to talk about a few of these subjects. So a lot of our viewers are like parents or very busy professionals trying to juggle, and they have little time to prioritize their health. So I was wondering if you can say what you would recommend in order to get that life balance just right.
Well, that is the $1 million question. But I will say that you have to have the right tool to help you be efficient and effective in your life and taking care of your health and taking care of your family. And if you think about, if you had 3 acres of grass that you had to mow every week, and you're trying to balance your life, but you're mowing that grass with a push mower or a weed whacker, that's not the right tool, and that's not going to give your life balance, because you're going to spend a day a week getting this job done. And so I think it's really important that you get with someone that can help you really get the right tools. Tools come from coping to understanding how I need to change my schedule, to the right foods and the right things that are quick and you can use on the go so that you can be your best. So I'm going to say, got to have the right tools.
Brilliant. Okay, that is really good. And you're absolutely right, because a lot of people, the whole idea of getting healthy, they just don't know where to start. So yeah, having that toolbox, I like the idea of a toolbox of things that you can do. That's fantastic. So a lot of your really good podcasts talk about having a healthy mindset and self-care. So why do you think that's really important for our parents to out there and busy professionals to have that healthy mindset and look after themselves?
Well, we learn the lessons and then we teach the lessons, right?
Yeah.
And so I can tell you this from experience, that when mama ain't happy, no one is happy. And we can say that for the dads. If dad is tired and stressed out because he's carrying an extra 50 pounds or because he never gets any time to himself, whatever it is, if you're not nourishing your mind and your body and your soul, then you're not showing up for your family with your A game. And sometimes we say dad needs or mom needs to get rid of the French fries. And sometimes we say dad needs to go fishing with his college buddy for a day, or mom needs to go out with the girls for the night, or mom and dad need to go out for a date night. That is so important, because then we come back to the family with our A game. And I learned those lessons the hard way, but I was coachable.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely spot on. Because I think parents often think, oh, well, in order to have a healthier lifestyle, it's all about going to the gym or exercise or crazy diets, and it isn't. A lot of it is in the mind, isn't it? With your mindset, and you've got to have that balance. And
Mm.
the stress and sleep are so important. Not being stressed out all the time, sleeping well, eating properly, and like even the way you eat. But a lot of the time, people just think it's all about the crash diets and going to the gym, but it's not, is it? And you're absolutely spot on when you say about just chilling out and fishing with your friends, or mum having time out with her friends. That is so important for the brain and relaxing. So that's fantastic. That's really good tips.
Yeah, and if we don't do that as parents, then we're
Yeah,
not modeling that for our children. If we're go, 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 and we're grab and go with our food and it's not healthy food, then I always say more is caught than taught. And so that's what you're going to bring to the next generation. And I don't think anyone really wants to do that, and they don't want to be intentional about it. So I hope
exactly.
today we can kind of get some wake up calls going on for people.
Exactly, definitely, and a lot of the time, I was interviewing somebody yesterday, and they were saying they were actually a personal trainer, and they're saying, when they were introduced to somebody, people don't always know why they want to lose weight. It's like, oh, I'm going on holiday in 2 weeks, or I've got a wedding coming up next month. But it's not that; it's the whole lifestyle, isn't it? It's like, well, I want to live 20 years longer. I want to see my kids grow up and their kids grow up. So you've got to see the bigger picture, haven't you? And you've got to
Yeah.
base your lifestyle on that. It's not just a fad diet for 2 weeks. It's a lifetime, isn't it?
It
So
is a
yeah,
lifestyle. It
yeah,
is those habits. And you're right. There's always going to be a wedding. There's always going to be a vacation. There's always going to be things are crazy at work right now. There's a list, and it doesn't go away. The list
no,
doesn't go away. So you're right. You just, that's why you step into it either with one toe at a time, or sometimes you're just at the place where you say, I'm ready to jump in with both feet. And that's why I like to listen and find out where my client is before I start coming up with what's for them.
definitely, yeah, I totally agree. You've got to know the why under the why, and you need to know why you've got to achieve the goal and live the goal and know why you're doing it. And as a parent as well, you're a role model. So by you eating properly and showing your kids that you're looking after your mental health, your sleep, your nutrition, then they'll do the same when they're older and when they've got their kids. So yes, that's fantastic, and yeah, it's good that we're all on the same page as well, and I'm sure our parents will appreciate that. So
Yes.
in one of your
I was just going to say, one of the other things that I coach people on is helping them establish that morning routine and that evening routine that's going to address the mind, the body, and the soul. And if that's something that you teach your kids, boy, that's one of the best things. I wish I would have been doing it back when my boys were young. But fortunately, even when they're 30, you still get to teach them lessons and you still get to speak into their life as long as that relationship is healthy. And that's the big picture.
It is, and I love what you're saying there about the morning routine and the evening routine. And I was talking to somebody, interviewing someone about this, and they're saying about the morning routine and jumping out of bed and doing like a 38-minute workout and things. And I was thinking about this because my son, first thing he does when he gets up is looks at his phone, goes on his phone, and I try not to do that. But unfortunately, my VA is in the Philippines, so I have to. It's the first thing I do because of the time difference, but we do, and it's we should be looking after our mental health and motivating ourselves to get out of bed quickly, do some exercise to get us going for the day, to get our metabolism started off. So I love the fact you've got a morning and an evening routine, which is really, really important. And I think social media has kind of taken over in our phones that we never had when we were kids. But
That's true. It's a
yeah,
real thing that we have to manage and monitor.
definitely, yeah. That's really good. So in your fantastic podcast, you describe, which I've not seen before, I love this, a one-word goal for New Year's resolutions, which sounds intriguing. So can you tell us about that? Because it sounds fantastic.
Yes, because I'm a goal-oriented person, and anyone that's trying to move to a healthy lifestyle, they know they're going to have goals and set goals. And goals can be overwhelming. And so I came upon this book, The One Word by John Gordon, about 7 years ago. And it helped me to realize that, yes, I need to have goals, but I need to have one word that I focus on for that entire year. And I take weeks to really journal and think through the questions that he guides you through to decide what that one word is. And that one word then gives you this filter to run your life through for that year, whether it's big decisions or little decisions. Like I'll give you an example. One year, my word was relax. Now, I kept questioning myself. That could not be my word, but it just kept coming back to me over and over. And finally, I realized, I mean, I'm a type A person. I'm like, I don't need to relax. I got goals. I got things to do. I'll relax when I go to bed at night. So I finally realized I needed that to be my goal. For the whole year, I would kind of ask myself, relax is your word, and I'd have it all over my house. Well, that year, it was 2016, I reached one of my biggest goals in my business. And it was because I relaxed and I was listening to people better. I relaxed about the pace that I was trying to set, and I stopped stressing and striving. So move forward a couple of years, and now I have a new word. Never forget when you have 2 years or 2 years ago. Now in January, I fell on my word steadfast, and I study the definition. I look up verses around it and books about it and quotes around it. I really get into that word, right? And then the pandemic hit. And I'm like, I mean, come on, we were all in this boat that was just topsy-turvy, right? And I'm like, okay, I know why my word is steadfast, because I got to stay steadfast through this season. And so I will do that one word exercise for the rest of my life. It has helped me so much.
Brilliant. Okay, I love that. Yeah. So steadfast was, you say that was 2020? Yeah. So what's 2021 then?
2021 is warrior.
Warrior. I love
Yeah.
that.
And I went, warrior. Oh my goodness. And I really got fired up behind that. And then as I have stepped into life in 2021 with that word, a couple of times I found myself in these mentoring situations, and the person that I was talking with was just feeling defeated, maybe hopeless, maybe overwhelmed with decisions. And I thought, I'm her warrior today, or I'm his warrior today. Oh no, you're not, you're believing lies. Let me tell you what's true. Because sometimes when we're coaching someone, they get so caught up in life that all of a sudden we're saying these things to ourselves consciously and subconsciously, and it's lies that is holding us back. So I don't know what else warrior is going to look like this year, but that's some of the fun that I've had with that word this year.
Oh, brilliant. That's fantastic. Yeah. So I think for everyone that's watching this now, put in the chat below what your word is going to be for 2021, and we'll collate that, because that's fantastic. Brilliant. Okay, Jessie, that's fantastic. So how can people contact you and learn more about what you do?
I have a website, and that is Beacon of Hope Jessie, JESSIE.com, because I want to be a beacon of hope for people. And also my email address is beaconofhopejessie@gmail.com. That's
Brilliant.
the
Okay.
easiest way. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put
And
that in the chat.
if they like that one word exercise, on the in my blog, you'll see the video where I talk about the one word and how to get your one word. You can read the book by John Gordon, or you can listen to my quick little explanation, or just look it up. But I elaborate a lot more on that. And you don't just pick your word. You have to ask yourself 3 questions. You have to journal and really think through those 3 questions, and then you see what word starts to come to you. So maybe they put in the chat, I'm going to seek my word for 2021.
Brilliant. Okay, I love that. Yeah. So everyone that's watching, do it now, put it in the chat, and that's brilliant. Okay, excellent. Okay, well, that's fantastic what you've said. So yeah, we'll put all that information in the chat. And yeah, it's lovely to speak to you, and it's really informative. So I'm going to go and do that now. I'm going to think of a one word, one word for the rest of 2021, and then the challenge is going to be what one word to use for 2022 as well. So, and I'll continue to listen to your fantastic podcast as well. So that's great. And yeah, so thank you ever so much for coming on the show today. It's been really useful, and we'll keep in touch. And yeah, brilliant. So you have a good day. And
well, let me just say one last thing.
Okay. Yeah.
And that is, I do want to offer a gift.
Of course. Yeah.
I want to offer, for those that are like ready to really move forward on this journey that you're guiding them on. If something I've said has resonated and you think I can maybe help you, then just you can reach out to me. I will offer a 20-minute consultation, either by phone or Zoom or whatever. And then we'll come up with one tool that I have in my tool chest that I'll gift you with. And then whether or not we continue the journey together or not doesn't matter to me at all. But I would love to have the opportunity to learn from some of your viewers.
Brilliant. Okay, we'll do. Yeah, excellent. I love the toolbox idea. Okay, so you heard it here, everybody. So that's what Jessie's offering us. So thank you ever so much for that. And I'll put all the information in the chat. So brilliant. Thank you ever so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you for what you're doing.
Okay, brilliant.
It's important work and someone has to do it. And I just really commend you for reaching out to those parents. And I'm sure you're telling your story so that they can relate to it and you can help them. And this is a labor of love, doing all of these podcasts, reaching out to all of these people, bringing all kinds of different information from different angles. That is a true gift that you're giving to parents, Chris. So thank you.
Oh, thank you ever so much. That means a lot. Brilliant. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You have a great day.
Okay, team, that was great, wasn't it? So what is your one word? Have you decided what it is for 2021? And think ahead for 2022 as well. So I'm still trying to think what my word is for 2021, but yeah. Anyway, write it in the chat below and be interesting to see what we get. So anyway, so in that video, Jessie was just talking about we all have our own stories as to why we do these things. And you're probably thinking, why has Chris spent 3 hours interviewing all these people? And it's like, well, yeah, and plus, oh my God, I can't even tell you how many hours I've worked this week to put this all together. But it started from my mission when, like 5 years ago, when I was overweight, I was unhealthy. When I went to the doctor, I had really bad results for things like BMI and blood pressure, blood sugar levels, cholesterol, visceral fat, all these sort of things. And I remember my son, bless him, used to bounce on my stomach, and he used to think it's hilarious. And it was awful. And I remember going to body pump with my boss at the gym, and he used to put Spanx on to hold my stomach in. And one time I couldn't get it off. I had to get my boss to put it over my head because I couldn't get it off. I mean, that was so embarrassing. I can't even describe it. It's like something not right here. And when my son was complaining because he wanted to play football in the garden and I couldn't, I just didn't have the energy. I just wanted to sit on the sofa. So that's not fair on him, and it's not good for my health. And, if this is happening in your early 40s, what's going to be like when you get to 50 and things like that? So I turned my life around, and that's what I'm trying to do now, is to help other parents or busy professionals turn their life around so that you have more energy. I mean, I have more energy than my son now. He's 9. Played football with him yesterday. Had to let him win, obviously, but you can do it. And I remember like 5 years ago, I had no energy. Now I've got ridiculous amounts of energy, so much energy. I wish I could bottle it up. And this morning, I actually taught body pump and then spin class before doing this, and my body's wrecked, but I've still got the energy to do it. Whereas I wouldn't have been able to do that 5 years ago. And I'm 48, one of the older instructors there. I mean, it's not a job; I just do it for a hobby because I love doing it. But I always used to think when I was training for it, when I was trying to get my qualifications, like, oh, people are going to laugh at me because I'm like late 40s. They're not going to want to have an instructor who's like, getting on a bit. Whereas I actually think that I put more into it because it's a hobby, so I can actually, put more emphasis in it, put more fun, put more commitment into it, and put more energy than somebody that might have to teach, say, 20 classes a week in their 20s. I don't know. There's nothing against them. Just say sometimes you've got to believe in yourself. You've got to think, yeah, I'm going to put something into it. I'm getting towards 50 and I want to look after my body. So there you go. So it can be done. It can be done. Like 2 years ago, I was like, I'm never going to get my qualifications for body pump and spin. And I did it, and now I've got loads of energy. And when I started my mission to become a health coach, I was like, well, I learned it and I wanted to help other people to do it. So, and that's what I love doing. I love seeing the successes that my clients get. And I've got one on as a bonus session later. But before that, we're going to go into our next speaker, who is a UK well-known personal trainer called Rory. So I'm going to bring his video on because he is really, really good. And I love what Rory does. And he's so motivational. And he just talks to people in that like really good way that, inspires them. So bear with me while I put on the next one, and you are going to love this one. So next, we are going to talk to a PT from the UK. So introducing Rory Halliday Stokes. Welcome to the show.
Hello everybody.
Hi. Well, so Rory is well-known PT in the UK who trains parents and non-parents and has a unique skill. And he's really good at motivating people. So anyway, Rory, can you tell us a bit about yourself? Give us a bio about you.
Yeah, sure thing. So my name's Rory, everyone. I live in the Midlands. I am 26. I've been in the fitness industry for about 7 years now. I've been kind of a PT/coach for the past sort of 4, coming 5 years. I suppose if I was to summarize what I do, I specialize in fat loss, weight loss, and body transformation. So I have a mixture of clients. Some clients want some general weight loss, and this is where probably parents come involved. Parents after general weight loss, better health, better fitness. But I do also do body transformations as well. So a little bit more extreme, getting people ready for photo shoots, kind of abs, shoulders, the definition. So I do a mixture, but it's all generally weight loss and fat loss related. I absolutely love it. I say work with quite a variety of people, and I still do today. And many of them are parents. So hopefully we've got some useful advice we can share with you and you can take away.
Brilliant. Okay, that's really good. And it's good that you have such a mixed range of like parents, non-parents, or younger people, older people, because obviously they all have different needs and different requirements. So that's really good. So today, Roy and myself are talking about how to be more energetic and a fitter, healthier parent. Because as a parent, we have that responsible job for looking after our rugrats, being the one that they rely on, putting a roof over their head. So it's important that we look after our health, and often as parents we don't, and we need to sort that out because at the end of the day, they need us. So we'll be talking about energy, how to get fitter, healthier, a bit of mindset and things like that. So that's excellent, Roy. So how would you recommend somebody who's new, like a parent who just needs to sort themselves out, but they've absolutely no idea where to start? How would you go about helping someone?
That's a great question. And to be honest, when you're at the start of getting into fitness or a health journey, a weight loss journey, however you want to term it as a parent, it can be quite a difficult place to be because there's so much information out there. You've got the internet, you've got magazines, you've got newspapers, you've got all this overwhelming information. But like with anything, like when you first learn to drive, it's all about starting with the basics for me. So it's probably looking at what you're doing now. So what habits have you currently got? If you've got any particularly bad habits, this might be being sedentary, drinking alcohol, kind of more days than not per week. It might be having too many takeaways. So it's looking at the basic habits that we need to get in place. And for someone who's brand new, it might be to first just gently increase your exercise levels. So can you go for a 10-15 minute walk every day? Maybe before the kids get up, or maybe after they've gone to bed while your partner watches over them. So it's just starting off with the very basic habits from an exercise and nutrition standpoint. You know, if you have 3 or 4 takeaways per week, can we bring that down to once or twice? Can you make a better, more informed decision over the takeaway choice? So it's very much starting with the basics for me. So generally increasing your exercise levels, start becoming invested daily or at least every other day in some form of exercise. Doesn't matter, it hasn't got to be a 2-hour gym session. It might just be a 10-minute walk at lunchtime. But so long as you're increasing your exercise levels and you're starting to be more conscious about your nutrition, actually thinking, what am I putting in like my mouth each day, each meal, being conscious of what you're eating and what you're exercising, that's a good place to start. And once you've got that consciousness in your head, you'll already be in a good place to make better decisions. So for me, it's about becoming more conscious, looking what you're currently doing. What are the simplest changes you can make? And that's where I always generally guide parents and even non-parents as well when they first start. No matter your circumstance, you want consciousness and seeing where this excess weight has come from, seeing where the bad habits have come from. And that probably ties us over into kind of routines and stuff next.
Wow, that is fantastic news. I remember as being an unhealthy, overweight parent 5 years ago. I thought, well, I need to sort myself out. Where do you even start? Because I used to do a few classes. I used to go to a spin or a body pump class and think, that's enough for me. I can get away with it. But then, you have that wake-up call when you have unhealthy results. Your belly's sticking out. Your son thinks it's hilarious to bounce on your tummy. You've got no energy, and you think, oh my God, I need to sort myself out. Where do you start? And it's I think for me, because I've had lots of different PTs over the years, it's finding the right PT, and it's finding the one who cares, who motivates you. And, he's got the knowledge, and, he's not just like looking at his phone the whole time. He's really believing in you, and he's got all these tips and ideas, and he adapts it as you go along, because no two people are different. I'm sure you find that. So those are some fantastic tips. So when you've got your clients or your newbies, how is it that you show them, the why you want to do it? How do you say to them, well, do you know why you want to do it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think when it comes to looking at a weight loss journey, getting fitter, getting healthier, if you just think it's a good idea and it's kind of on a whim or it's something that's just popped in your head, the truth is that's probably not a strong enough buy-in to stick to a weight loss process. Because one thing to understand about a weight loss process, a health process, parent or non-parent, is it is a journey. Like, it's a long-term goal. It's something, particularly if you want to get fit for your kids and be a better parent, it's ongoing. Your kids aren't going anywhere, right? So it's something you've got to invest in daily. You've got to think long-term. You can't think, oh, I hope I'm a pound down tomorrow. You've got to think, if I keep acting like this, in 10 years time, I can pretty much guarantee I'm going to be in a fitter, healthier position. So it's having that long-term mindset. Before I work with anyone, one of the big questions I'll ask them is, okay, why is this goal important to you? How is it going to improve your life? Like, you might drink wine every night. You might have takeaways 3 times a week. So stopping that, how's that going to improve your life? And if they say to me, I need to be able to run around a playground with my son, I need to be able to play football with my son, I need to be able to, look like I'm in shape when my daughter gets her first boyfriend. All these things are really common. So it's understanding what's a strong reason, like what's a good enough reason. If it's, I've got a holiday, well, great. But when that holiday passes, you're a little bit stuck because, you're going to wait for the next holiday. So as a parent, you've got a fantastic motivating factor in your kids aren't going anywhere. So to be in shape for them, that's really powerful. So why do you want to do it? How's it going to improve your life? And lastly, why now? So why do you want to do it now? Why haven't you done it in the past? And why not wait till the future? And most people will have a really good answer for that. They'll say, I'm sick of it. I've hit the end of my tether with it. I don't like looking myself in the mirror anymore. And although those things aren't nice to hear or say, they can be significant factors in your life. I know you just mentioned, just Chris, about, you know, having your son like jumping up and down on your stomach saying you got a beer belly. Those are really significant moments, and they can really make you, that can like make you or break you. So if you understand that's the sign to start this journey, don't see it as a bad thing it's happened. See it as a good thing that it's happened now, and you've not had to wait another 2 years or another 5 years. So yeah, motivation is really important. So mindset wise, you want to think long term. You know, like, it's not about tomorrow, it's not about next week, it's about the next 5-10 years. And two, note down in your head or on a piece of paper, what are your reasons for doing it? And they've got to be strong enough. You've got to have more reasons for doing it than against doing it, because if you've got more not to do it, you won't do it, you won't stick to it.
That's brilliant. I love that. And I have the same in health coaching, where I have someone will say, I need to lose, like, I don't know, 10 pounds in 2 weeks to go on holiday. It's like, no, because you can't always do that, and you need to think about the long term, don't you? And if someone said, well, okay, I'm getting married in a year's time, then that's achievable, a goal. But the 2 weeks going on the beach. But for parents, it's so important to think, no, I need to be selfish. I need to do this for my kids. And I often recommend to parents that they actually say to their kids, right, this is mummy's time or this is daddy's time, because I need to be healthy, because I'm looking after you. So you need to allow me to have half an hour to do this, walking or running or going to the gym, whatever they're going to do, because it's an investment. I'm going to be here forever for you. And often the kids will understand that. And a lot of people say to me, "Oh, I've got no time." Yeah, they'll spend 3-4 hours a night watching Netflix.
Yeah, scrolling their phone.
Exactly. So until they got to that point where they know what they've got to do, as you said, about we're in like health coaching, it's the why under the why. Until you've nailed down that why you want to do it, you're not going to get anywhere. So yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. They've got to know why they want to do it, and live that goal as well, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, like, sort of speaking about mindset, there's a really great book that I recommend everyone to read, Atomic Habits by James Clear. And what's brilliant in there, it's a mixture of kind of actionable, like practical things, but also a lot of mindset things. And something that's quite telling for parents and weight loss is, you'll find that someone who's very far down a weight loss journey, of course they're motivated, they're losing weight every week, they're feeling better, they're sleeping better, they can see that it works. Whereas when you're right at the start, you have all these doubts. Can I do it? Have I got enough time? Will my family life allow me to do this? Will work allow me to do this? So you've got a lot of doubts, and not just that, you haven't made any progress yet. So you're not psychologically bought into the process. So understanding that the best thing you can do is start the process, start to see some progress, and that will snowball over time. And quite often when you take action and see progress, that's what will keep giving you the kind of motivation and spur to keep going with it. So it's not sort of about finding motivation as a parent, it's about creating it. And if you can get that in your head as well, that's really powerful, because the power is in your hands. Like, it's the door's there. It's up to you to walk through it as a parent. And you have got, parents have got, I'm not a parent, and I completely get it that parents have way more obstacles with kids, school runs, dropping them off to football and all these different activities, accommodating for their energy levels on an evening, in the morning, on weekends. So your resources are more taxed than someone like me who hasn't got kids yet. But I think I can totally relate to how that's difficult, but it doesn't mean that you can't do it. Like, there's plenty of parents out there who are fit and healthy. Why can't you be one of them, is what I say.
That's brilliant. Yeah. And also on one of the other interviews I did yesterday, I was talking to a chap and saying, you wouldn't just go into a spin class if you'd never done anything before, because you collapse after 5 minutes. I remember when I did that. And then like now I've gone from surviving like 5 minutes to actually teaching it and body pump. But I actually get my son Thomas involved in it as well, and he learns all the choreography for body pump with me, and we listen to the music in the car and plan spin tracks and choreography together, because that's getting him involved. And then he's got his own little set of body pump weights as well, so it's really great to get him involved. So that is good. So anyway, so one thing that you talked about before was like habit change and goal setting. So yeah, I'm sure for you that's really important, because obviously you keep fit yourself, but also you've got all your clients. So do you want to talk a bit about habits and goal setting?
Yeah, sure. So obviously goal setting, you wanna map out kind of what's the long-term goal first. So like where do you want to be? What's the kind of ideal destination? You want to work back from there. So, if the goal is to lose, 2 stone, or if the goal is to fit into a certain dress size or to feel a certain way with around your kids, you want to understand that's a long-term goal. So you can't expect to have that tomorrow, next week, next month. That might be a 2 year, a 12-month, a 6-month goal. Like this sounds like a really annoying answer, but it depends on where you're at and how big your goal is. Most people, it's between 6 to 18 months, really. So the first thing is work out that, and then you want to reverse back from there. So how do you chunk that down? So if the goal is to lose 2 stone in a year, which is very achievable, well, your goal is now to lose a stone in half a year, or it might be to lose half a stone in the first quarter of a year. So you kind of take the macro goal and you try and break that down, and also turning outcomes into processes. So losing a stone is an outcome, right? So it's an outcome of actions you take. So instead of setting goal of losing a stone, you say, right, I'm going to set the goal of walking 8,000 steps per day, drinking 2 litres of water a day, going on a 10-minute walk at lunchtime, going for a class twice a week. So you set processes rather than outcomes, because when you set an outcome, that's all well and good, but if you don't change any of your actions, you're not actually moving towards it. So, set some process-based goals that you're going to do each day, each week, and then just note down your long-term kind of outcome goal over the next 6-12 months, whatever that might be, and then reverse that back and just focus on nailing those processes each day and each week. And you will get there, or you'll certainly get close. Later down the line, you might want to get a little bit of extra help, whether it's from a coach or someone who's been there, or you join a community or a group of people on a similar journey, and they will help you make those final steps. But you definitely need to map it out. Any business, any successful project, it has a plan mapped out. It's no different with weight loss and fat loss. It needs to be mapped out. Whether it's the mother of 3, the father of 2 losing 2 stone, or the man who wants abs for his photo shoot, they both need to be mapped out, and that's so key. That doesn't change, like whatever your goal might be.
That's brilliant. Yeah, and that's fantastic what you just said, because I completely agree with that, and that's what's happened to me before. And it's interesting as well, because sometimes parents have got this image of, they're just scared, thinking, oh no, a personal trainer would judge me, or that I'd look stupid, or I wouldn't know what I was doing. And I've had a lot of parents that have come to me and they said, I just don't want to go to a gym because I don't want to look stupid. People will laugh at me in the gym because I don't know what I'm doing, or I've got a belly. And I say, no, gyms aren't like that. I mean, you work in the gym, I work in the gym for a hobby, and it's like, it's not like that. It's everyone's so concentrating on what they're doing themselves, but it's that image. So what would you say to some parents that was like, oh, I don't want to go to a gym because that sort of thing will happen to you, that people look at me and judge me?
I'd say, it's like your first driving lesson, right? Like you go out there, and for most of us, like, you don't know anything, you feel a bit stupid, but you will drive, you will learn, you'll do it. Most people will do it without any questions, because they know that by the end of that process, whether they pass first time or 10th time, is because the outcome is an easier life. You can drive everywhere, you're more accessible, you're more employable. It's the same with weight loss. Like you might not understand anything on that first trip to the gym, but your second trip will be better, your third trip will be better. So if you can just turn up, the rest will take care of itself, and if you are so unsure, then delegate it, hire a trainer, get a coach, ask someone to show you around, go with a friend who you feel is someone you can trust. So, if it's that big a deal, pull someone in. But if you're brave and think, I could go and try it out, then go and do that. I know something I like to say is, if I've got a problem with my water, I'll call a plumber. If I've got a problem with my car, I'll call my mechanic, simply because I don't have the mental space or the knowledge to sort that problem. So it's outsourced, right? And it's the same with your health and fitness. Don't be scared to outsource it if needed, if you are so nervous. But yeah, and just understand that, you're not the only person in the world who has self-doubt. Like, we all have a little bit of it, and that will go, and you'll manage it better if you just throw yourself in and actually go. So, just being scared to go, that can't be a big enough reason for you not to, try and achieve your goal. Because I guarantee, like, you achieving your goal will feel way better than the gratification now of not going to the gym, you know, because you're a little bit scared. So, you know, you've got to look a bit bigger picture again and just move past that.
That's brilliant. That's fantastic. Yeah, it's so right, because I mean, I went from like being scared of the gym, now love going to the gym. It's like the favorite thing I do. Most days you actually look forward to it. And yeah, when I teach a body pump class, it's like so amazing, the adrenaline you get from it and the buzz. But yeah, brilliant, Rory. That's great. And have you got some more details or something you want to tell us or offer people in the group?
Yeah, sure, guys. So yeah, so if you want to check out more of my content or learn a little bit more about me and the kind of work I do, then probably the best place to catch me is on Instagram or Facebook. So my Instagram handle is just my name. So it's Rory Halliday Stokes. So RORY HALLIDAY STOKES, just one word. I've got loads of really useful content on there. There's a free fat loss guide on there as well. You just go to my bio, click the link, download the fat loss guide, and you'll be added to my email list as well. So you'll get more tips on there. Facebook is just Rory Halliday Stokes dash personal trainer, and you'll find me on there, and you'll see a lot of my online coaching and personal training results on there. But more than anything, there's just loads of useful content for you to use and apply to your life, and hopefully for you got parents, that works really, really well for you.
Brilliant. Okay, that's great. And I'll put the all your details in the chat on here as well. So yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Rory.
Okay,
much appreciated, and have a good rest of the day. And thank you. Cheers.
Okay.
So everybody, did you enjoy that? So that was Rory Halliday Stokes. And if you want his details, I'll put it in the chat or get in contact with me, and yeah, we can connect you. So that was great, wasn't it, to hear it from a PT's perspective. So throughout the day, we've heard lots of different views from different people, different backgrounds, but at the end of the day, everyone's trying to do the same thing, to help like parents or busy professionals to find time to prioritize their health. And how easy it can be, you just got to want to do it, haven't you? So I know that's great, some great tips there. So thank you to Rory. Okay, so now we've got a bonus one. So I was thinking of all the clients I've had, and I was trying to think who could I use that's had like really good results, but also is like not somebody that necessarily has been to the gym or wanted to go to a gym. Because a lot of people, they say, oh yeah, I want to lose weight, and show them how to use gym. But a lot of people, when a health coach, don't always want to go to a gym, and for whatever reasons. So my next guest is Richard, who's a really good example of this. So he's changed his life without ever going to a gym. So that's fantastic. So I thought I'd use him out of all my clients as a good one. So let's welcome Richard. I'll just get Richard's video on here. So this is our last one of today, so I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you've got any questions or need any further information for any of our speakers or about my own services, put it in a link or send me an email. So it's chriscavehealthcoach@gmail.com. And obviously you'll have had emails from me already. So there we go. And we'll set up a Calendly link and free consultation, anything I can help you on. So I've got various Facebook groups and lots of other things I do. So there we go. Okay, so I'm just going to find Richard's video. So this is really great. You're going to love Richard. Okay, so everybody, I'd like to welcome Richard from the UK, who is one of my most successful clients, and he's done so well. I wanted to get him on the show today to basically show you how he's transformed his life. So, and yeah, he's just back from his holiday, just back from a cruise, so he's got a lovely tan. And our heat wave sadly finished today and it started to rain. But I just wanted to welcome Richard. So welcome Richard to the show. Okay, so a bit about Richard. So I've known Richard quite a while now. He's based in the UK. He's got an office job. It can be stressful at times. Loads of back-to-back meetings. Often doesn't get time for a lunch. Works long hours, but also enjoys his holidays when he can get away from it all. So before I started working with Richard, he often struggled for a routine because he had such a hectic, busy life. He'd have to snack on everything, grab whatever he could, whenever he could. Like really to be on the run all the time, having to eat in between meetings and not having that time to chill and sit down and eat properly. So we've worked on lots of different things together. But I want to welcome him first, and he's done so well. I'm so proud of him. So welcome, Richard. Nice.
Yeah, thanks very much, Chris.
Good. Anyway, so Richard, we often we used to talk about the why under the why, which I love that phrase, the why under the why. So why is it that you decided to change your life and change your habits and lose weight and get healthier?
I suppose there are a couple of reasons why I decided to do something about my weight and to be a little bit healthier. And first of all, it was around not actually liking the person that I was seeing in the mirror. So there was this element of self-confidence, not liking who I was seeing there. You notice the shirt sizes gradually creeping up, and before you know it, you think, wow, the shirt collar size is far bigger than it's ever been before, and it's not going the right way. So there was that kind of element to it that I thought, actually, you start getting into plus size clothing, and this is almost embarrassing. The other element of it was being of larger proportions, being more susceptible to ailments such as type 2 diabetes. Going to see the GP about sort of minor issues, and every time you go and see the doctor, and they ask you to get on the scales, and they have a look. Not quite a case of no coach parties, please, but you get that idea, and there's only so many times you can take the keys out of your pocket or the change that you brought along to try and bring your weight down through what you're wearing. It gets to the point where you actually have to start doing something, and I thought, I need to start doing something now before it's too late.
That's brilliant. I love that one about the keys and the coins. Yeah,
it's true though. It is so true.
Yeah, I remember having to do that when I was 5 years ago. So thank you for that, Richard. That's very honest, and it's a pity that we haven't got any before pictures of Richard, because I'm so proud of him, because he's lost so much weight and he looks so much healthier in his face and stuff. But yeah, we weren't that organised. But so we talked about that, and the next thing that I love the way you do it is the way you do your food prepping and food planning, and it's fantastic. I'll let you tell everyone about it, but it's brilliant. Every time he sends me pictures of it, I just love it, and it's all so organised.
Yeah, I suppose with food prep and planning, you eat with your eyes to an extent, and if you prepare something that looks nice, you want to eat it, and but actually you have a lot of control over what you're doing. So it was about a couple of years ago now, I bought an extra freezer, because I thought, I enjoy cooking. I get a lot of pleasure from it, but it gives me the opportunity to batch cook large amounts of food, put it into the freezer, take out my own ready meal when I want something. And what I do, it would get to the point where I try and cook 3 different things at once almost. So you might have a curry of some sort, something with sort of Chinese influence to it, a bolognese, all on the stove in different pots going at the same time. But the advantage around doing something like that, provided you've got the freezer space to store it, is why cut up 1 onion when you can cut up 4 or 5, or 1 carrot when you can cut up a kilo of carrots, and you sort of get yourself into this routine where you end up doing a lot of the preparation, and you can share the pictures and show them off afterwards to people like Chris, but you also have that advantage that you know exactly what you've put into it. So whereas when you get a ready meal or something on the go, you're not quite sure perhaps what's in it, but when you've created something from scratch, you know exactly what's in there. Whether or not you fully understand the nutritional properties of it, I confess that I don't perhaps, but I know the sorts of things I should be putting in or shouldn't be putting in, or should be putting in moderation. But it gives you that opportunity, because all of a sudden you get to a point where you get a ready meal from a supermarket, and you think, there's so much rice with this curry that the proportions just aren't right. So one of the things that I've loved about this is the cooking a curry. You've got it all portioned in the freezer, ready to go. So you're not then of an evening after a busy day thinking, I really don't know what I'm going to cook or what I'm going to make. Work out what you've got in the freezer. You can take it out, defrost it if you haven't been as organised to defrost it earlier, and you know exactly what's in it.
That's brilliant. I love that. It's about being organised, because so many people go wrong because they panic, they get home and there's nothing to eat, and they go, I better order a takeaway, or go out and eat in the pub or somewhere else, and that's where people have that downfall. So yeah, it's so good that you organise like that.
Well, the other thing as well is then you start taking a bit of pride in what you've created, and then you start sending the show off pictures to Chris, where you've sort of delicately arranged a piece of parsley or whatever it might be, to just to try and give him a bit of food envy at the same time. So it's there's more than one benefit to it.
I love that. It's brilliant, and I always look forward to you sending me pictures of your food. So yeah, it's always good, and puts me to shame because often I don't even do that as much as I should do. So yeah, I'm going to do that now. Oh dear, that's classic. So
I was going to say as well, sorry Chris, in terms of the food preparation, it does extend to things like lunches as well. So one of the things that I'd find particularly in an office environment is that with back-to-back meetings, there's only really time to grab a sandwich, and particularly when being in an office, nipping out to the local sandwich or baguette shop is a quick and easy fix to get a baguette and a bag of crisps and a drink. But when you're doing some of your food preparation, one of the things I'd found is that I would make salad, and I'm not averse to salad anyway, but I am averse to the fact that it might take half an hour to make it, and then that's the lunch break gone practically. So what I would tend to do is on some evenings I would then prepare salad. It'd be ready in a box to go. So all I'd need to do when the time comes is to put the salad onto the plate, perhaps with some protein, some fish or chicken or something that I've got available. And then it's ready to go. So that's one of the things that I have done, and I've taken from some of the things that you said, Chris, is that actually it's these little changes. Just because you're eating salad, it doesn't mean it has to be boring or unexciting in a way. There's ways to keep it interesting, but actually doing that preparation in advance is key to that. And then you don't feel as bad afterwards when you've because you haven't grabbed a sandwich that you knew you shouldn't have had.
Yeah, brilliant. I love that. It is, and it's so good when you've got, you just like rushed out of a meeting, you like, oh, I'm so pleased I did that salad earlier. Whereas everyone else is panicking, oh my God, I've got to run to the baguette shop, I've got to grab something. And it's always unhealthy stuff. And it's stuff as well that'll make you tired in the afternoon. Because if you have loads of carbs, like a baguette at lunchtime, give it by 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, everyone's falling asleep, aren't they? And they're so tired to get that brain fog. Whereas if you've had like your salad and something healthy like protein, you don't get that loss, that brain fog in the afternoon. So well done, Richard. I'm really proud of you. And finally, so Richard loves his cruises. And I've never met anyone who loves these cruises so much. So in the old days, cruises could have been your downfall, whereas now you have turned it around so that now a cruise is no longer a challenge. You love your cruises and you can still stay healthy on your cruises. So can you tell us a bit about your cruises now?
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I love being on cruises. I love being at sea. All these sort of opportunities to do different things, and to be at sea. So much food available, so much drink available, and I suppose that the challenge here is that when you're on a cruise and you're doing something that's all inclusive, it's an offer. It's not a challenge. You don't have to just take everything that's there because it's there. And I think that's one of the things that I suppose I've really learned is that if you've got a buffet available, you might have a load more food because you'll just have a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and it suddenly builds, and you don't really realise it's building until afterwards, and you're wandering around afterwards feeling really quite full, having overindulged. So one of the things I do try and do is if I can go to the main restaurant and have something that has been plated for me that is balanced, you can still enjoy lots of different things that are delicious, but there's been that element of portion control because those that are putting this together appreciate that you might be having 2 or 3 or 4 courses even, so you get that balance. The other thing that I've really found is that I'm not a big walker. I don't really like climbing stairs, but when you're on a ship, somehow climbing five flights of stairs on the outside deck or in one of the stairwells, it seems less of a challenge than climbing the stairs in the office. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because there's the goal at the end that you've got the outside deck to go and wander around. But I find that my step count on a cruise and my stair count would go up over my time in the office, because I am moving around and enjoying the scenery, and the stairs don't become a chore. So it's these kind of things that I think have really helped, because you get to a point where you can still enjoy these things, but you're enjoying it in moderation, but you're adding in these other things that you perhaps wouldn't necessarily choose to do if you're on land. But because you're at sea, the rules are different. You can go and sort of climb up the stairs on the outside deck to get to the better viewing point to see something interesting that's happening, and you just don't worry about it. So I suppose that's how I've approached it. It's still doing what I enjoy, but it's doing what I enjoy in a very slightly different way that doesn't actually impinge on that enjoyment. So I think that's what I've done, and that's the key.
That's brilliant, fantastic, yeah. And I know you've told me about all your cruises before, and I always say, oh no, I could never do that, because to me, I panic that I wouldn't be able to keep as healthy, or wouldn't be able to keep an eye on my food, so not preparing myself, wouldn't be able to do the exercise. But you sent me pictures of all the gyms they have on the cruises now, which look absolutely amazing, and also the food as well is really healthy sometimes. So that's really good, and you've got the choice and the option, so that's good.
And I think that's the thing. There is that choice, and I must admit that I choose not to go into the gym, other than usually to take a picture to send to Chris, just for evidence purposes. But because gyms aren't really my thing, and even at sea, it's not really my thing. But if I can do something that's different, that helps, do it in my own way, I think that helps, and I hope I don't get told off from Chris for saying that.
No, that's fine. I'm really impressed, and the fact that Richard has changed his life and lost so much weight without even going to a gym just says a lot. That if you've got it in the head and you've got the mindset there, and you've got your goals and you live the goals and you know why you want to do it, your why and the why, you can achieve anything, and you don't have to eat dust and just drink water all day and spend 10 hours a day in the gym. You don't have to do that. It's all about getting the right balance. So brilliant. Thank you, Richard. Really appreciate you coming on the show today. And you've probably helped like thousands and thousands of people all around the world about that. So that's fantastic. So we wish you very much, and we send you a group hug from everyone around the world. So thank you, Richard, and we'll speak to you soon.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Chris. Thanks very much, everyone.
So there we go. That was Richard. So I hope you enjoyed his. See, he's just a normal bloke, and he's lost all that weight and he's gained a healthier life, and he never even been in the gym. So there you go. It can be done. And I love his idea, right? When he preps, he has like, you know, not just one onion but 4, and he has like a whole kilo of carrots and things like that. And it's great. Sometimes I do like mass prepping in advance, say on a Sunday night with my son. And we'll put the music on. We'll get like almost like a conveyor belt of stuff. All our plastic boxes ready. We cook it all together. You know, put the music on, get it in, and it's so much more fun than if you just like just buy something from the supermarket that's really unhealthy as a takeaway. Don't need to, just prep in advance. So there you go. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the last 3 hours of this stand-up desk after a while. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed the 3 hours, and if you've got any questions, just let me know, and any of the details you need from any of our speakers. So I'd like to thank all of them for coming on the show today, and in different time zones from around the world. So we've had Australia, America, and Great Britain. So there you go. Next time, hopefully we'll get some more European ones as well. So thank you very much. And I hope you enjoyed it. And see, as parents and busy professionals, we can do it. We don't have to give up. We don't have to like have bad health when we're older. We can live longer if we just invest in our time now. So there you go. Brilliant. Anyway, thank you for watching, and the replay will be sent out to you. So I hope you've enjoyed today. I know I certainly have, and I've learned so much. I've written pages and pages and pages of notes. In case you're wondering what I was doing all the time, I was writing. So there you go. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us, and I will speak to you soon.